bitch. Oh, excuse you? Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry in. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Hey y'all, welcome and happy Friday. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show we basically talk about all things going on in pop culture and hot topics. So if that is a show for you, definitely stick around because we have a lot of tea to spill today, including somebody putting out a homophobic slur towards Aaron Pierre after they saw the trailer. Well, he was an artist on Green Lantern who decided to hit Aaron Pierre with a homophobic slur after he watched the Lantern's trailer. Terrence Howard is weighing in on why he was fired from Marvel as playing War Machine. Carl Urban is saying that he wants to reprise his role as DREDD. So we'll get into that story in the midst of Taika Waititi actually going to be taking over and coming out with his own reboot. We got to get into the Britney Spears DUI stuff. Also, Kevin Federline got some drama going on of his own in spite of what's going on with Britney. So we'll get into that. Mathew Knowles is trying to backpedal what he said about Tina Knowles, his ex, after the Beehive came after his ass. We got to talk about Stefon Diggs because apparently his mother and Cardi B's sister Ming Lee was spotted at the Cardi B concert. So everybody's asking, are they the drama in all of this situation? And telling Ming she got to pick a side and all this. So we'll get into that. Plus, Daryl Hannah was recently portrayed in this JFK Jr. Carolyn Bessette Ryan Murphy produced propaganda series over on, I think it's on FX or whatever the case is. But anyway, Daryl Hannah speaking out. She wrote a whole by what do you call it? An op-ed regarding her portrayal in the show. And she got some choice words for Ryan Murphy and the people behind the show. So we'll get into that. Lisa Rinna is revealing the rudest celebrity she's ever worked with in her new book. Um, there's a America's Next Top Model judge who basically said that it's okay for women to be bisexual, but not men. And we have a reality TV star who is bisexual, and he heard what she had said. TMZ went and spoke to him, and he weighed in on what she had to say. So we'll get into that. Plus, Billy Porter recently just did an interview with T.S. Madison, and he gave details on what had happened when he was in the hospital for sepsis. And he said he was dead for 3 days. So we're going to get into that and a whole lot more. So before we get to those topics, if you please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. We also have membership. So you want to become a member, you could definitely do that. You can send super chats, all that good stuff. Speaking of super chats, I want to shout out someone by the name of Sam, who has always been posting positive comments on my page about how much he loves the channel, how much he loves the show, how much he loves my commentary and my shade and my reads and all that other stuff. And he just likes the show. So I want to shout out to him because he sent me a $20 super chat, and I'm very grateful for it. So I mean, I posted in the comments, but I want to give him a special shout out on the show. So yeah, let me hit my banner and I'm gonna get to these small little topics before we get to the main one, so I can get enough people in the room. And so, hold on, because I was like, I gotta make sure everything is copacetic. All right, I guess we good. I was like, let me close this window because I realized I had my other window open. And without further ado, let's get into our first topic. And let's talk about this Green Lantern situation. So the trailer for Lanterns premiered 2 days ago. It was supposed to come out yesterday, but apparently somebody leaked it, and then so it dropped 2 days ago. They dropped it the day before it was actually supposed to come out. I saw the trailer. I liked how grounded it was, but to me, I'm just like, I don't know how I feel just yet. I need to see way more. So I'm not 100. I'm on a little feeling a little cautiously optimistic, but I'm a little divided on the whole situation. I like the groundedness of it because you have these intergalactic police officers. One who is Kyle Chandler training someone like Aaron Pierre, I guess, to be an intergalactic police officer, but you're on Earth dealing with some bigger threat, or whatever the case is. It's still a mystery. We don't necessarily know what it is, but it's March. The show comes out in August, so they have plenty of time to hype up the show and give us more insight on what it is. But So I don't mind Aaron Pierre. I actually like him. There was a movie I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I first became aware of him. He did this action film that was on Netflix that I was like, oh, he's pretty good. First of all, he's a good looking guy. Love the eyes. His eye color looked like a hazel greenish type of look. So he's very mesmerizing to look at, and I think he has the potential to become a big star. I heard some people say he should play T'Challa. I'm like, how many damn people y'all trying to get him to play? I mean, you got him as Green Lantern, then y'all talking about y'all want him to play Bond, and y'all got him trying to play all these other characters. But so someone who was an artist that's worked on Green Lantern decided to give his thoughts on it and decided to drop some homophobic slurs in the process. So um so shout out to Comic Book Movie for this story. They said at one point, Ethan Van Sciver was one of the most prolific artists working in the comic book medium, garnering acclaim for his work on the likes of Green Lantern Rebirth, Batman slash Superman, and several X-Men titles. Over the years, Van Sciver's opinions and vitriolic rants led to a massive decline in his popularity, and he has once again stirred up controversy online. Because yeah, now he's doing podcasts and things, and I guess that's the only way that you can pretty much get attention is by doing that. Now, Van Sciver has previously referred to Superman's Guy Gardner, Nathan, well, who played Nathan Fillion, the design as atrociously stupid looking and a humiliation. But I will agree, I did not like the Guy Gardner look in um Superman. The wig was wigging. I'm like, what are you doing, James Gunn? But that was his vision. That's what he went with. So I do think that look was stupid. But the humiliation part is like, okay, you're doing too much. And has now shared his take on the recent trailer for Lanterns while using a homophobic slur to describe a main cast member. During his stream, Van Sciver calls Jon Stewart actor Aaron Pierre a rhymes with maggot and a homosexual. And they said, thanks for the clarification, Ethan, because we kind of know, like, when y'all call people a faggot, that you're not necessarily meaning a bundle of sticks. You're trying to use it as a slur towards a man who probably, if you saw him in person, you wouldn't have the balls to say that because Aaron will probably beat your ass. I mean, if you seen what the man looked like gay Santa Claus. I was thinking about playing the clip, but I was like, should we even give well, just so y'all can get an idea of what this clown looked like, I'll actually pull up the video. So yeah, hold on, we'll play it.
He's just that kind of a guy. So he just seems like he's going to be like a good Hal Jordan. Aaron Pierre is a faggot and a homosexual. And it's real creepy to hear him actually talk. Now, having said that, his face, he looks a lot like Jon Stewart. So I'm excited about the way he looks as Jon Stewart. I hope he's able to be Jon Stewart.
What I don't get is what does being a Roswell maggot or a homosexual. First of all, you don't know what the man identifies as. Well, first of all, he did also recently date Tiana Taylor, and we heard that they broke up. Then again, there are such things as beards in Hollywood, whatever the case is. But until that man has come out, and I'm playing devil's advocate. So until he comes out and says how he sexually identifies or what he prefers in the bedroom, then for you to get up on social media and speculate on somebody is like, dude, shut the fuck up. So, of course, after what he said, it resulted in a lot of backlash, with many fans tagging James Gunn and calling for Van Sciver to be fired. But people need to realize this. Instead of y'all always automatically thinking because it's DCU that people are automatically working within um, HBO, HBO Max, or Warner Brothers, or DC, the DC imprint, whatever you want to call it. He hasn't worked for DC Comics since 2018. And he was fired because he was coming out saying derogatory things and being discriminative. So, of course, it's going to land him in hot water. He's not working with DC. He's got to resort to going online and doing a podcast and give his opinion on things. For the looks of it, I don't know. Is he on like Twitch or whatever the case? No, it looks like he's on. Oh no, he's on. It looks like he's on. He's doing a YouTube channel. So that's the one place that I guess you can get away with giving your opinion, and I guess maybe he feels comfortable enough doing that there. But I was like, why is it this big? I just realized on my page there's this huge gap that I didn't even realize that was in the article. But then there was also, they said, some valid complaints about the teaser, and a surface clip of producer Damon Lindelof's appearance on the Love It or Leave It podcast has only added to fuel in the fire. Where some people are saying, like, David Lindelof is an idiot because he went on and said, we took the green out the title because we all agreed that that was stupid. I'm like, the character is called Green Arrow. How is that stupid? That's who he is. So, I remember, I realized what it was. It was a tweet that I posted, but I guess they took it off or whatever. So, while I said I'm cautiously optimistic, I'm not all that excited over this Lantern show. It looks interesting. I'll check it out. But here's the thing that I'll say about this guy. You cannot be seriously out here fixing your mouth to call someone a faggot based on their performance that you haven't even seen in full, by the way. When if you look at his under his name, how you put throat goat under in parenthesis under your name? So who's the who's the homosexual now, Mr. MAGA Santa Claus? Because that's what you're giving. You're giving MAGA Santa Claus with all of this. So how you going to sit up here and call somebody names and use gay slurs or whatever the case is? And it's like, sir, why are you referring to yourself as a throat goat? Do you even know what that means? So as I said before, I'll check out the show, but for him to sit out here and call somebody that name, you just sound stupid. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. He said, you're on early. Yes, because I was finished with doing what I had to do. So I just changed the time to 4:35 instead of 5. Did Aaron Pierre steal Ray J. Jean Page correct? Yeah, because everybody at one point had Ray J. Jean Page. They had him as like the next big thing. And then it's like, we haven't really heard from Ray J. Jean Page. People keep saying he need to be Bond and all these other characters. But yeah, we haven't really heard from him. So I don't know what's going on with his career or what happened to him. All right, so now let's get back into the show and let's talk about Terrence Howard, who basically is finally open. He recently did an interview and now he's open up on the theory that he has, where he thinks that he has a theory on why he was fired, basically. So from the MCU, because I remember at one point he was War Machine. Sidebar, speaking of War Machine, Netflix, y'all got to do a better job at promoting y'all shows, because how was it that I just found out I had to go on Comic Book Movie when I was looking for stories, and they were talking about the score for this new War Machine movie that Alan Richson is in. And the with that film, and it said it's out on that. I'm like, when did they release that? Like, there was no promo. I haven't seen Alan out promoting this movie. I mean, like, oh, maybe I haven't been paying attention because I'm really watching a lot of these shows where people do interviews, like the regular late night talk shows, whatever the case is, on linear television, or even any of the podcast circuit. So I'm like, so when were we gonna find out that this movie was out? But that's what I said. Netflix, I gotta do better with y'all marketing. But I'm hearing the movie's getting good reviews. So anyway, let's get into the tea. So, from what we were led to believe back in when he was going to shoot Iron Man 2, I thought that Terrence Howard was fired because it was due to a pay dispute. But then he did a recent interview where he feels like he has a theory on why he was dropped from playing Rodney, aka War Machine. Now, he said that being an angry man is what cost him his gig, because it said before Robert Downey Jr. was cast as the future Rock of the MCU, Howard was actually the first actor brought aboard Jon Favreau's 2008 Iron Man. In the debut MCU film, the Oscar-nominated actor played Tony Stark's friend and sidekick, James Rhodey Rhodes, only for Howard to be replaced by his Crash co-star, John Cheadle, ahead of the 2010 sequel. Howard has previously blamed the move on his refusal to take a drastic pay cut, considering he was initially earning more than Downey. But he's now suggesting that his actions on another film were a large part of his departure. Now, speaking on the PBD podcast, Howard recalled an alleged run-in that he had with legendary producer Joel Silver at the 2007 Venice Film Festival as the duo promoted their movie. And funny enough, when I was going through this article and I looked at a picture and I saw Joel Silver in the photo, I was like, wait a minute, was it Joel Silver he had a beef with? Then I read the article, I'm like, yeah. So for those who don't know who Joe Silver is, Joe Silver is was this big But I don't know if he still produces as much as he did back in the day, but he's produced a lot of stuff. Particularly like one of the biggest movies I can think of off the top of my head, besides the one we're talking about. He produced The Matrix and was doing stuff with Village Roadshow and all that other stuff. So he's the guy on the end next to Terrence Howard. That's Joel Silver. Because I remember growing up, I used to always see Joel out doing a lot of interviews. That's how I became aware of who he was. And then he also did that movie. Damn, what was the name of that movie with Halle Berry, where she showed her boobs? And I'm not talking about Monsters Ball. It was also Hugh Jackman was in it. I like the soundtrack because Paul Oakenfold did the music. But I can't remember the name of the film, but it was like he was playing some hacker or whatever the case was. So yeah, he produced that film too. But anyway, so he said Joel came and had a conversation with me. And he's like, the reason your name isn't above the titles is because you're not the star of this thing. It's Jody. And if you get nominated for an Oscar, it's gonna be for supporting actor, not best actor. And I was like, thank you for telling me that. Now I understand, but you have to remember that I'm a man just like you. And if you ever talk to me like that way, in that way again, I'm gonna knock your teeth out of your mouth. So for those of you who are wondering, it was like, yeah, that's when he did they went to the 2007 Venice Film Festival and they did a film called The Brave One, in which Howard starred as a New York City detective who was on the hunt for a vigilante killer that was played by Jodie Foster. And Howard said that after a reporter asked why his name wasn't getting the same credit as treatment as Foster, he had, just been nominated for Hustle and Flow. He said he wanted the same, and then word of his frustration apparently made it back to Silver because people are asking him questions, and he's like, "Well, yeah, how come my name isn't above thing?" Because remember, at one point, Terrence Howard was like one of the biggest actors going around in Hollywood, but they trying to say like the way he comes across, because he's very much about, yeah, I'm a man. And so we've seen the interviews recently as like, I guess he was on that back in the day. So I guess we know that wasn't all performative, which I guess some people deem that to be a bit problematic. So now they said that Silver's producing partner on The Brave One just happened to be Robert Downey Jr.'s wife, Susan. And they said 8 months later, I lose Iron Man. And I'm sure that that of all things played their part. Probably because Susan heard what Robert was doing. I mean, what Terrence was doing, and Susan took it back to her husband, and decisions had to be made. And then that's when they chopped him. So why did he decide to just go along with this if it's not true? Why did he go along and just say like, oh no, it had to do with a pay dispute? Because he thought that he was going to still, like, he didn't want to rock the boat and get blacklisted or whatever the case is. I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting from it. But Joe Silver and Susan Downey were hit up by Entertainment Weekly. They haven't responded. But they also went on to say Entertainment Weekly previously reported that Favreau was unhappy with Howard's performance in Iron Man, and so he was planning on minimizing the Rhodey character in the sequel, prompting Marvel to go to Howard with a drastically reduced salary to continue. For his part, Howard had called the firing the surprise of a lifetime, adding that apparently the contracts that we write and sign aren't worth the paper that they're printed on sometimes. He even went so far as to suggest that Downey Jr. was partially responsible, saying the person that I helped become Iron Man when it was time to re-up for the second one took the money that was supposed to go to me and pushed me out. And this is why everybody's putting allegedly, if this is true, this is why it's funny how like I feel that MCU is in shambles right now. They on the struggle bus trying to, get cooking with gas again. And they so desperate trying to revive the MCU after so many duds. And duds, I'm not meaning financial, because even though the movies weren't that great, they made money or whatever the case was, is that they're trying to get back in the good graces of the public because we've been disappointed with so many movies post Endgame. And when you're going and saying like Robert Downey Jr. did some shady shit and pushed me out when he was going through some things in his life prior, because remember, nobody would touch Robert Downey Jr. with a 10-foot pole before he got Iron Man. And even then, when he was chosen to be Iron Man, there were people in the industry that were skeptical and like, is this a good idea to have him come on board and play this role? And now we look at it and it's like Robert Downey Jr., perfect casting to play Tony Stark / Iron Man. So I'm glad they went with that decision. But Robert Downey Jr. was going through his own mess too, waking up in that. Remember the legendary situation where he woke up in some child's bed after going on a damn drug bender. So they also said that his career has been full of ups and downs, and now admits that his aggression and need to be a man caused him many opportunities. And my thing is, you don't need to keep running around talking about how much of a man you are in order for people to respect you. It's like you walk into a room, you should be like, look, you're not going to just walk all over me like I'm a piece of shit. But this whole I'm a man, I'm a man. It's just like, now I'm looking at you like, Terrence, you, for someone who likes to protest how much of a man you are, you a real bitch. And he does give bitch assness energy a lot of times. Especially with that last interview that we saw him do. What was it, on Cam Newton? Where he was up in there talking about man this and man card. And I was like, shut the you're like, you sound dumb as hell. And you too old to be sounding like that. So then they also said that in his PBD interview, he cites a conversation with Denzel Washington that gave him a new perspective. He told me, look at your hands. Your fists are all balled up. Howard said of Washington, believing that he was always ready to fight. All of those producers are trying to open your hands so they can put money in it, but you won't do it. You keep your hands all tight and you're blowing it. And to me, I always feel like you can get more bees with honey. It's like, okay, these people going to sit up in here and say whatever. It's like, okay, that's fine. But now I need to get myself in a powerful position where they can't tell me nothing or whatever the case was. But the fact with him is that I got to be a fighter. I got to be combative. Oh, you're not going to disrespect me. It's like, look, them people are going to say what the hell they want to say, but I'm not going to let them fuck with my money and my livelihood and my career at the end of the day. But then again, you would hear people say, well, why, as Black people, we always have to, kowtow and take the higher road and have the grace. I mean, we said the same thing when it came to Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan when it came down to that. And I agree that we should always have to be poised or take the higher road. When they go low, we go out. Like, we shouldn't have to always do that. There should be times when we get up in somebody's face and motherfucker, don't play with me. We should get like that, but it doesn't get us anywhere. So I feel like success is always the best revenge. That's the way I look at it. So it's unfortunate that I almost said Howard Stern, child, that Terrence Howard had lost, that his career is where it is because he couldn't learn to keep his energy and his attitude in check. Threatening to punch one of the most powerful producers in Hollywood. Like, are you dumb? But it is what it is. I kind of wonder what he was like being on the set of Empire. Somebody ask Jussie Smollett and them to talk. Because inquiring minds want to know. But I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I like Terrence Howard, but when I be seeing him talk like in interviews and we get to see the real personality, a huge turnoff. I was like, you just better off just having a script in front of you and just reciting what's on the page. But no shade, I actually liked Don Cheadle as War Machine better than Terrence Howard. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, let's see what the people are saying. You say he has a new movie coming out with Chloe. Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. That he has a movie with her, but that movie's gonna flop. Nobody wants to see that crap. Well, considering what Jesse said, Netflix seems to not like social media promotion. Oh yeah, because of the whole were you talking about the whole podcast thing? Thank you. It was Swordfish. I could not remember the name. Sounds like it's his own fault because he let the fame go to his head after winning the Oscar. Mhm. All right. Let's get back into the show. And let's get into some dread news. So, Carl Urban, well, first of all, I just finally got around to watching a trailer for The Boys, the final season. And I have to say, as somebody who's kind of been going back and forth with The Boys, like, I'm kind of been on the fence regarding, like, there's been things I'm like, oh my God, I hate Homelander. And I'm hoping that he gets what's coming to him in his final season. But watching this new trailer, I'm actually pretty excited to see this final season. I gotta re-up on refresh my memory on the previous season before I get around to the next season, because I watched half of it and I bailed because Homelander was just pissing me off in that episode. So I'm gonna definitely get around to watching it before this final season comes up. But it was great to see Jensen, like they had the Supernatural reunion. I like seeing the fact that we got Jensen Ackles back because he's been in the show before, but he's coming back. And then I'm hearing he's getting a spinoff, and then also seeing Jared Padalecki and also Misha Collins. So it's like one big Supernatural reunion that I'm excited for because I love that show. So and then from basically everything I was seeing in the trailer so far, I'm really excited for this final season. So I'm pretty much pumped. But in addition to that, speaking of Carl Urban, because he's going to be busy. He got The Boys coming out. He's got Mortal Kombat coming out, which I'm actually looking forward to seeing him as Johnny Cage. But he's also, as I was saying, did the remake of DREDD, which I'm sure most people feel this way. I prefer that version of DREDD than the one with Sylvester Stallone. So the Sylvester Stallone one, he barely was in the helmet, saying that dumb shit, and then Amon Asante playing his brother. I was like, this whole storyline is stupid. And had Rob Schneider up in there, who everybody thought was like comedy relief, but he was just annoying. So, but I love this remake, but I don't know if because of the remake, people decided they had such a stench in their mouth from the previous DREDD that they didn't want to give this DREDD a chance, which this was a great movie. I love the grittiness. I love the action. I liked how the retro futurism of the film. I just loved everything about this movie. They shot it in South Africa. I thought Lena Headey as Mama was a great villain. We need more women as villains in movies because she definitely was a tough son of a bitch. Damn, I love that movie so much. I might actually rewatch it again tonight. But yeah, so unfortunately, the movie did not do well at the box office. It's a cult hit, has a cult following, but it wasn't like this big successful box office film when it came out in 2012. I can't believe it's been almost what is it? 13 years because it's 2012 was when it came out. 2022, yeah. Well, it's almost 14 years, I'll say, because we're in 2026. So I can't believe it's almost been 15 years since his last movie, and I definitely think that I would love to see him come back, but it's up to the industry. So let's get into the story. So fans have been hoping for a positive update on a potential sequel to 2012's DREDD for a long time, but they said there was apparently a reboot in development from Taika Waititi, who directed the horrible Thor: Love and Thunder. But I love Thor Ragnarok, so I don't go too hard on him because he gave us Thor Ragnarok, but then again he gave us Thor: Love and Thunder. And also screenwriter Drew Pierce, who wrote Iron Man 3, Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation. Iron Man 3, I don't particularly care for that movie, but Rogue Nation, bitch, that was a good one. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. See, it's always like, yeah, there was one movie I wasn't excited for, but then the other movie I'm like, okay, you kind of make up for it. That's on the both of them. So updates have been pretty much non-existent since, but we do know that the character rights holders, Chris Kingsley, Jason Kingsley, and Ben Smith of Rebellion Developments, were integral in YTT and Pierce. Oh, sorry, it's Peace. Drew. Wait, is it Drew Pierce or Drew Peace? Because they messed up in the article. Comic book movie. That's where I'm getting this from. Being assigned to the gig. Last we heard, the movie was being shopped around studios. Assuming this will be a full reboot, the chances of Karl Urban returning as the notorious ruthless Mega City 1 lawman is obviously very slim, but that doesn't mean the boy star has lost interest in reprising the role. He said, quote, "I would love to reprise the role in a heartbeat." This is what he told the playlist recently. "I really would. I had so much fun making that movie. If I'm not part of it, then I'm all good with it. I just want to see more DREDD stories." And I'm actually gonna agree with him on that because I feel like DREDD is such a good like the whole judge jury execution done by the judges, where they go in and they're actually grabbing up the people and making decisions on whatever political. I think that's a great story to still explore. If not as a movie, I actually thought that DREDD would make a good TV series. And you can go back to South Africa and shoot it and kind of keep that same tone and the same vibe of that movie and bring that over into it because a lot of fans love it. A lot of people love that movie, and it's unfortunate that we get so many great superhero movies that unfortunately don't really do well with a larger audience, probably based on the subject matter, or it's kind of got like a niche vibe to it. So they also said there was speculation that Urban might be involved in the Mega City 1 TV series that was being developed by AM Global and independent UK games developer Rebellion, but with no word on the show since shortly after it was announced back in 2017, we assume it's well and truly scrapped at this stage. Saying, well, listen, it's very, very early to get any specifics on that, but I've gone on the record before saying that I would love to come back and be part of that world and tell more Dread stories. This is what he said back in Carl Urban said back in 2020. There was just a plethora of great, great stories within the Judge Dredd universe. I think that Jason Kingsley and his team, I think that the legacy of Judge Dredd is in great hands. And I definitely feel like this is, like I said before, this is a series that definitely needs to be explored, a world that needs to be explored. And I absolutely loved his take on Dredd. And I definitely want these stories to be told. And I definitely think that Carl Urban could still play the part at his age. I mean, why not? You could have a man. I mean, he doesn't look old. You have a man of a certain age that can go in and do the action. It looked like he was having a great time making the movie and you could definitely feel it, the energy of the film, that everybody who did the film was enjoying it. So why not bring it back? And I just hope that because I honestly cannot think of, well, if not him, because he says that I just want more stories to be told, then who could they possibly put in of that's younger to play that part? Because to be honest, let's see that a lot of the studios want to do more action films and find more of the next, and they need to actually look to the younger generation of wannabe action stars and kind of prop them up and get them in making those movies, because you can't rely on a lot of the people of my generation anymore. Like they were talking about rebooting Born. Like I saw that Jeff Snyder was talking about that they're trying to do a reboot of Jason Bourne, and they're talking about bringing Matt Damon back. And I'm like, Matt Damon's in his mid 50s, like pushing 60. Why the hell are we trying to? I mean, I might be exaggerating his age, but he's in his 50s. So why are we still looking at older actors to still do these parts? I'm not trying to discriminate and say that they can't, because we've been seeing this a plethora of action films where we're seeing men of a certain age doing action, which I live for. But gone are the days where you have to continue to hold on to an old IP and you want to continue to use older people in it, but you're not willing to find the next generation of young action stars who want to take on those parts, because there are plenty of them out there that are trying to jump in and do action movies. So y'all just need to find. I can't think of anybody at the time, because I did hear they said Will Poulter would make a good Jason Bourne, but then people were saying, "Oh, he's too nerdy." I'm like, really? Because before Matt Damon jumped into action and was doing Jason Bourne, he was doing a lot of nerdy fucking movies. Talented Mr. Ripley, School Ties, which I hated him in that movie because the way he was going in on Brendan Fraser, like he was an asshole in that movie. And I love School Ties. But he's done a lot of movies where he played like a preppy, dorky type of dude. He was not Mr. Action movie star until he started jumping into doing um the Jason Bourne stuff. So it's possible that as an actor, you can go for playing, if you have the versatility, you can go for playing a nerd to playing, a big badass movie star. And Will Poulter's been hitting the gym and getting that body right and tight. And plus, I just saw him on Drag Race UK versus the World, and he was pretty funny as a judge. He literally looked like he was having a good time while he was there. So hopefully this thing gets made. I'm a little on the fence because I need to know the type of vibe that Taika Waititi is coming with regarding developing a Dread movie once it gets off the ground. But I definitely think this is a franchise that needs a resurgence because the last movie was so freaking good. So however they decide to revive it, I'm here for it. Just don't suck, please and thank you. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Dread, and Carl Urban saying that, yeah, he definitely wants to come back and play the part because he had such a great time playing that role. And it's like, Hollywood, what the hell is taking y'all so long getting us a new Dread movie? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I watched the new season of Ted yesterday. Oh yeah, I forgot the new season was out. I said, not me missing 30 minutes. Oh yeah, because well, I don't know, because I did put 5 o'clock. So, but then I was like, oh yeah, I'm finished doing what I need to do. I finished putting my show together. I finished eating. Now I'm like, I got 30 minutes left. So let me go and change the time and say I could do 4:35. Because I was gonna put 30. I was gonna put 4:30, but then I was like, let me change it. McKenna Grace has the #1 hard rock song from her Scream 7 song with Ice Nine Kills, Twisting a Knife. Well, I'm glad people like it because Ice Nine Kills, they're clearly fans of horror because this is not the first song that they've done for a horror movie. Damn, I can't remember the name of what was the last one they did. Was it Five Nights at Freddy's or one of them horror films they actually did a song for? So this, I think, like the second was something. This is kind of like their little niche thing where they're doing songs wrapped around, some horror films or whatever. But I think this is a good move for them to get attention on their music. Into the Groove is back in the UK Top 40. I don't know what's going on, but the fact that Madonna has re-entered the UK Top 40 with her first UK #1 single. Oh my God, I totally forgot to add that Madonna story to the docket. Hold on a second. I knew there was something I was supposed to do because there was some inside tea. Wait, that's not what I wanted to do. Or maybe I will leave it at that. Hold on. Cause but I know I sent it. Didn't I send it to you, Robert? Because we might have to add that to the docket. Bum. Yeah, because there was a story that came out where they went inside the new I guess she's shooting the music. Well, not I guess. I mean, the word on the street is she is shooting the music video for. And I forgot to like send it to myself. I think I was just going through a lot. Yes, so much stuff yesterday. It got so busy that I forgot to pull up the article. All right. Hold on, because I was like, should I hold on? Yeah. We're gonna have to do this in real time. So bear with me because I gotta grab a photo. But I had some great photos, by the way, that I was living for. I actually think I can find them in here and I'll just use those. Because I'm like, normally I do not do this show in, where I'm editing everything as I'm talking to y'all. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Damn, how far down is it? I was like, bitch, hold on. Maybe I could find. Oh, I did find her. Hold on. There she is. Madonna. Oh, wait, I don't want to put it in claps. Caps. We're not going to put it in some caps. Hmm. All right. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna have to add all this later. So let me see. Because the son had this tea, and I was like, oh, this be a good topic to talk about on the show today. Let me make the banner. Okay. And now I'm trying to figure out where should I put the story. Um, you know what? We'll put it. Where's it? I think it'll fit. We could put it after the whole Mathew Knowles Beyonce thing. So we'll do that story right after that. Not Madam Sex, child. That's what they call her. That's what they said with the headline. Thank you for that because I'm like, you remind me. I was like, wait a minute, wasn't I supposed to post something? I was supposed to post that Madonna story. And that was supposed to be an article, but we're gonna make it a show. We're gonna make it a topic today. All right. So now let's get back into the show because we good. What did you I knew you was gonna ask me. I did not I didn't listen to it. I didn't get around to it. I totally forgot that the album came out because until I was on YouTube. And like sometimes when you're on YouTube and you look at, like, you get like alerts if you're following certain artists and you realize they put out like all their music. I'm like, first I noticed it with Cobra. I'm like, wait, so that means Cobra put out her album? And I went on Apple Music. I was like, oh, yep, Cobra dropped her new album, which I haven't listened to yet. I'm gonna listen to it tomorrow because I'm gonna be working tomorrow. So I'm gonna listen to it while I'm out. And then I'll check out the Harry Styles album. So I haven't listened to either, but I'll give you my thoughts once we come back with the next show, which will be on Monday. So yeah, you said I just like my electronic music a bit more weird and experimental. You wanted to scare people. The Pussycat Dolls just reacted. There's not reacted because React was a song that they had. Then it fell apart again. So you said the Pussycat Dolls just reacted to their social media. Word is they're going on tour as a trio. Carmen said no. Jessica Sutter went MAGA, and we all know how Melody is. So then who's doing it? Is it Kimberly Wyatt? Was it the two? Is it the two girls that did the Snatch Game over there on Drag Race UK? Because we know Nicole not coming back, or are they? Because I don't know if them girls could sing. And I'm sure they probably gonna need Nicole permission to do that music because that's all hers. But I don't know if they're trying to pull a Danity Kane. But the question remains: was the Danity Kane movie? I mean, was the Danity Kane tour successful? I ain't hear much about it except the fact that there was they didn't have Dawn Richard up there. Okay, so I was right. He was in his mid. I was close to mid-50s. You said it's the two blondes. Oh, so it is Nicole. And you said it's the two blondes and Nicole. Someone said as a trio, nobody can actually scream. Because Melody trying to prove a point. Because these two are her backup vocalists. So did she work everything out with Oh, that's what it was. It was Terrifier 3. Or what? Yeah, it was yeah. Because I was like, I remember hearing Ice Nine Kills did a song before, but so then it's got to be Kimberly Wyatt is one of them. You said the two blondes, so I'm thinking it's the two blondes from that did RuPaul's Drag Race. They just did the UK versus the world, and they were the people that were doing that horrible ass Snatch Game. But yeah, so no. So does that mean she worked everything out with Robert Anton? Because I got to check. I need to look into that story. It's Coming single is out at the end of March, album out early May. It tracks. She's either spring or fall in her normal release schedule. Didn't I tell you that single was coming out in March? Happy Friday, muchachos. Not and ladies if applicable. Ooh, child the ghetto. Okay, anyway, let's get back into child. Y'all gonna get mad at me over these commentaries. You might or you might not, but I don't give a fuck. So let's get into her. Let's talk about the story of the hour, and that being Britney Spears. So yesterday, I was not expecting to wake up in the morning, and the first story that I've had people send to me, Cleveland sent it to me first, and then I'm looking like Britney Spears arrested for DUI. I thought it was a lie, so I had to do my research, and lo and behold, all the majors was out there reporting it. That Miss Thing was out here getting behind the wheel without her license, erratically driving and drinking, or she had a DUI. So we'll get into the details and then I'll give my overall thoughts. So she got arrested in Southern California. I'm sure y'all probably all heard about this by now. In case you were living under a rock, she was arrested in Southern California for driving under the influence, according to Ventura County jail records. The Oops, I Did It Again singer, who's 44, was handcuffed by the California Highway Patrol in Ventura County, California, at around 9:28 p.m. local time. So that would be like damn near 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. She was booked at 3:02 a.m. and ultimately released at 6:07 a.m. That brings back memories. Where you spend the night in jail. Well, I remember I got arrested on a Saturday and get out until 12 midnight Monday morning. So I was in there a good 24 hours until I had to come back and do my community service, pay the fine, all the other stuff. So when people decide to jump in my comments and try to fix their mouths to say, oh, well, you act like you perfect, like I married motherfucking Poppins, bitch, I know when I speak of when I be saying certain things on social media. I'm not just somebody up here who is blinded by y'all faves or a stan. I know what I speak of. Because usually when people come up here and sit up here and say, oh, people gonna perch on their high horse or high mighty, all that. I said, nah, take that finger and point it back at you, because that's who you talking about. Don't sit up here and try to point the finger as a deflection, because you don't have the balls to come out and call somebody out on their shit. But anyway, let's get back into the story. So, speaking of which, I forgot we do bells and whistles on this show. I ain't put up a picture. Let's put up a picture of Miss Britney. There she is. Okay, so shout out to TMZ because they were the first ones to report on this story. So they said that she will be showing up in court on May 4th. Now, following the arrest, she took down her Instagram profile as she always does. She's very back and child. I was going. She's very bipolar with the whole the Instagram. 1 minute it's up and then it's down, and it's up, then it's down. If it's up, and it's up, and it's up, and it's stuck. I mean, it's like, girl, pick a. You just be that Instagram thing go up and down more times than a whore on a dick. Now, in October 2025, the Daily Mail obtained a video which showed, yeah, because this ain't the first time this happened. And this is what I was pointing out, because this was, she was driving erratically following a night out with a friend months ago. And this was back in October. And I remember I talked about this on this show because I remember taking it from the Daily Mail. They showed a video which showed the songs, the toxic songstress leaving Thousand Oaks restaurant, Red O, and getting in the driver's seat of her black SUV. And after several people allegedly attempted to stop her. Now, one eyewitness claimed that to the outlet that she nearly ran over her friend while pulling out of the parking lot. After that, she was seen swerving between lanes, tailgating a car, and even driving into a bike lane while on her way to her Thousand Oaks estate. Shortly after the video surfaced, Spears took to social media to claim that it was not her driving the car, but a lookalike. Well, she couldn't use that excuse this time. Now, the manager of the restaurant where Spears had been dining also defended her, shutting down any rumors that she had been driving erratically because she was drinking. They said she was super chill and really nice. This is what Oliver Wynn told Us Weekly at the time. She just kind of hung out, grabbed a bite to eat, and left. Then why the hell was she behind the wheel driving like a damn psychopath? It's because number one, it's been a minute since she's been driving, or should she not be back there at all? Because I don't understand, like, if you don't have it within you to be driving, then let your friends drive. And then on top of that, if you've been under the influence, if you're drinking, if you're doing whatever, if you're mixing your alcohol with your medication, which could probably cause an influx of your body mass index going up or whatever the case is, then maybe you need to call an Uber. Look, Madonna and her man Akeem got into a damn Uber twice, which everybody gagged over that. But that was Akeem's account. Madonna is not creating no damn Uber account. But if she could use Uber, your ass could get into an Uber too. Or since you already got enough money than we'll ever see in our lifetime, you just sold your music catalog for $200 million. Why don't you ever drive her? Because trust and believe, if I had Britney money, my ass would not be driving. I would have somebody driving me from point A to point B. They get a salary, and that's that. Because I don't like getting behind a damn wheel. I got too much shit going on that I am even focusing on the damn road. So now in 2006, they said that she worried fans when she was spotted driving with her. Oh yeah, remember that? Back in 2006, she was driving and she had her 4-month-old son, Sean Preston, on her lap instead of the car seat, which some people say that's a Southern thing. That's something that a lot of people down South do. Like they put kids on their lap or whatever and they be driving around, which may be true, but you got to realize this. You're not some regular girl from the South. I know you like to cuck yourself as that. You try to position yourself as that. You this old downtrodden home girl from down Southern, sweet Southern Belle or whatever the case is, that likes to drink her little sweet tea and sit out on the porch, spitting in Mr. Cut whenever he pisses you off. Like this ain't the antebellum South says you're a celebrity. You're one of the most, well, at the time, you were the most biggest pop stars on the planet. So you can't the things that you was doing before you became famous. You can't do that no more because all eyes is on you, and you leave yourself open for criticism. There are ways that you can get around for not people knowing what you up to and what you're doing. Beyonce has mastered the art. If you need to know how to do it, call her up and ask her. But clearly she don't want to do that. Now, there was another story that came out because I was like, I'm not going to wait and jump on the bandwagon immediately like everybody else did because I got to be the first to break the news. I like to be multi-layered with my shit, so I got to come with all the facts and all the receipts and everything that's coming out, and I'm sure there will be more that's going to come out as we go on in the next couple of days. But all the information I gathered, they were saying that she was out here allegedly showing signs of impairment during the DUI arrest because they said officers detained the Princess of Pop on suspicion of driving under the influence. They told that she was allegedly pulled over after driving her black BMW erratically at a high rate of speed while near the Borchard Road Off ramp in Newbury Park. She underwent a series of field sobriety tests before she was ultimately arrested and booked into the Ventura County main jail. Her chemical test results are still pending and the investigation is still ongoing. Yeah, they took her blood, and I believe that because I got that information too, what is it called? The BAC? What's that, blood alcohol count or whatever? They said it was 0.06, but I should let y'all know that the legal limit in California is 0.08. Which I did see comments online where people was like, so then why did they grab her? Why did they arrest her anyway? Because because she was under the limit. That may be the fact, that may be that may be true on that part. But you also got to think about this. If you're driving erratically, they can say that that was the reason why they pulled you over or they arrested you. So it has nothing to do with the fact of your BAC levels is below normal. So it's based off of she was swerving in and out of the lanes and driving crazy and all this other stuff. And they're like, okay, we need to check and see what's going on with this girl. Because then I saw another story, and this was coming from TMZ, because it's funny how TMZ can leak audio, dispatch records or dispatch audio of people calling about the whole Britney thing. But where's that same energy for Justin Timberlake and that surveillance stuff? Where's that? Because I was going to say that too. It's like y'all be so quick to jump up on the comments and defend her and move the goalposts. But I'm like, but Justin Timberlake was out drinking erratically and getting behind the wheel when he said he only had one drink or two, like he had a martini or whatever the case. I'm like, damn, you must be a lightweight. Like he's like, I only had one drink and then got behind the wheel. And I guess he swerved on that hill, swerved on that hill. Like he's swerving too. And the cop pulls him over and then he gets in his old arrogant back. You know who I am? This gonna ruin the tour and all that mess. And now he fighting tooth and nail to not have that released. Well, at least these two got something else in common besides the fact that they fucked 20 some more years ago and was almost about to. Were they engaged at one point? I don't think they were. Maybe they were. I don't remember. Nor do I care. But you can't just run around and get on him, but not her. Because y'all both public figures doing dumb shit, and y'all both should know better. You're both in your 40s. There is no excuse, and I do have empathy for her because of what she's been through. The fact that she doesn't have actual family members that give a damn about her. That her kids, now that the well has run dry over there with the child support, now all of a sudden they want a fake concern, and then the recent her manager Cade, who we're gonna get into his quote. Let me see if I can find it. Because they said an insider close to the Grammy winner told Page Six that officers also found an unknown substance inside the car at the time of her arrest. Now, what I'm hearing, because I did read this from TMZ too, I didn't make this a story, but I was like, I'll just bring the information to y'all. They're saying it's Adderall, and Adderall, that's Trump drug of choice too, because word on the street is he like putting that up his nose. So, and they were saying that was a lot of the reason why she allegedly, I would say that on him and her. They were also saying that the reason why she would take her ass over to Mexico, and it wasn't just so she can go and twirl in some hotel room and film it with running out and running mascara on her face and a nappy, a tacky ass unkempt weave, and these horrible little dresses and outfits she be wearing, and 4-year-old panties that she like tore. Shit. So besides her doing all of that, that's not the only reason she'll go to Mexico. Is because she could get her hands on Adderall down there instead of coming to the United States and getting a prescription and constantly getting it from an actual doctor. She can go down to Mexico and have somebody get her the Adderall. So that's what they're saying she's on, and she's been taken. So that's the alleged rumor that's going around. So now the word on the street is they are testing whatever it is on whatever that substance was that they found in the car. Now, her manager, Kate Hudson, basically told Page Six in a statement that he hopes Spears' detainment is the first step in a long overdue change, and also said that it's unfortunate. Said this was an unfortunate incident that is completely inexcusable. Britney is going to take the right steps and comply with the law. Hopefully, she can get the help and support she needs during this difficult time. And people had a problem with that in the comments, like because I'm gonna get into some comments in a second. Because people had the unmitigated gall. They had balls getting up on my channel and well in my social media, which I'm being funny, but at the same time, it's like, look, all for differences of opinion. Because I wrote what I write. Okay, I said I am seeing multiple posts because it was sending me the fact that we had all the Britney enablers and the Britney apologists in the comments with their with their bullshit, their Chris Cunningham. What is that his name? Cara Cunningham, whatever the fuck, because they're trans and MAGA, but apparently. So remember the Leave Britney Alone? Oh yeah, the Leave Britney Alone apologist was up in the comments with that tight ass line, and I'm sitting there like, I'm seeing multiple posts from Britney enablers saying leave her alone when it was her erratic ass that decided to get behind the wheel without a license and drive while under the influence. So we don't hold people accountable because they're your faves? That's all I asked. And people's in the comments. One person said the shade is she's still under the conservatorship mess. Where are her friends to order her a driver? First of all, I didn't know she was still under the conservatorship. I thought she was done with that. Another person said that's because most of her fan base are messy and chaotic too, but she gets a pass. Another person said, thank you. Another person said, no license, Lord. And another person said, yeah, America, LOL. That's how it works. And another person said, I don't understand how people can afford everything, drink and drive, and don't use Ubers or Lyfts. That's what I always say too. Because when you on them drugs, your mind is impaired. Another person said, yeah, oh, this one, somebody tried to come for me. Say, yeah, but you need to keep in mind that that British, I think you meant Britney, is a human being. She's allowed to make mistakes and fuck up just like you. Get off your high horse. And I said, I'm well aware of that she's a human being, and I don't need to perch my ass on a high horse to come to that conclusion. It's common sense not to get behind a wheel of a car if you're not only without a license, but also intoxicated. But then again, common sense isn't so common with most people. Another person said, you have been factual on a factual tear as of late. I'm here for it. And then here's the other one, because this is the one that really got me. Said, respectfully, the holier than thou energy in this take is a lot. No one is saying she should not face consequences. Obviously, driving under the influence is wrong, and she will deal with that legally. First of all, the person that wrote this didn't even put any kind of the consequence shit. You was trying to bend yourself like a pretzel and move the goalposts in order to come and act like you are like number one Britney Spears fan. Like you was giving Stan tease. And I'm talking about Stan like fucking Devin Sawa in the Eminem music video. So they also say what people are pushing back on is the gleeful pile on every time Britney makes a mistake. Some of you act like her messing up validates years of calling her crazy or unstable, when in reality it just shows she's human and flawed like the rest of us. The difference is most people's worst decisions are not broadcast to the entire world and dissected by strangers who want to feel morally superior for a day. Accountability is one thing, turning someone's mistake into a victory lap so you can say, I told you so, is another. And my thing is this: where the fuck did this person get all of that from? Because that wasn't what I wrote in my post. And so I said, who are these people that are gleefully piling on her? Because that isn't where I was coming from with this post. If she wants to twirl around in her house and running mascara, a raggedy weave, and panties that fit a 4-year-old, that's her choice. However, getting behind the wheel of a car and driving erratically when she also did that back in October of last year is dangerous. Instead of y'all stay reheating Chris Crocker's nachos? Where are the people who can keep her in check since she's been mentally, emotionally damaged from the conservatorship? If it was just reported that she filed, oh yeah, it also came out this. I forgot to mention this. She fired her sober coaches weeks before this incident. So apparently she had sober coaches. I didn't even know she had sober coaches, and she went and fired them, and now here we are with this mess. But then I find it bizarre that her manager is like, oh, it's unfortunate and all this stuff. If you are aware of how your client has been acting and what she's been up to, then you should have been keeping a close eye on her. So we're not going to sit up here looking at this picture, especially the lady dancing with knives. The excuse for that was, but Shakira did it. First of all, Shakira is part Lebanese. That's a part of the culture. And she knows what she's doing when she dancing with knives. This psycho bitch that danced like that girl from Friday the 13th Part 5, doing that in the fucking on camera every time she wants to go live with some shit. Because I was just scrolling through my Instagram the other day and she doing the picture on the right. That's how she was looking. And they going, like, why are you giving the finger and doing these weird ass moves that you be doing? Literally, like I said, dancing like the girl that was in Friday 13th Part 5 before Timu Jason took her ass out in her bedroom. Taking out meaning kill her. Y'all know the girl I'm talking about, the one that had the Terry Nunn hairdo, blonde at the top, black tips at the bottom. Look it up. You ain't never seen the movie. So, but yeah, I don't. So on the one hand, I understand it, but at a certain point, she's grown. She's in her. Should we say Britney is in her mid-40s? She's 44, so she's close to mid-40s. You know better. And what I don't understand is she has so much money. She has access to so many resources where she could have things brought to her and things done for her. And if she really wanted to take the time to mentally get herself together, then she should. I don't think she should be in a conservatorship, but she definitely needs to be at a place where she's not a danger to herself and others. So I don't understand why it's so hard for us to question these things or ask these things or want the best for her. By you saying leave her alone, I feel like that's enabling the problem. For people going on and trying to move the goalposts and the tap dance around this whole thing, it's about people are gloating and gleefully loving her demise. I'm like, who are these people? Because I don't sit, and as y'all know, I'm like, clearly you don't watch this damn show. But when it comes to celebrities and things going on in the world, I don't sit and gloat and get all gleeful over someone's trauma and pain. I see no pleasure in that. But if you're doing some shit out here that you shouldn't be doing, we can't talk about it. We can't call out what it is. I can't stand an enabler. So hopefully she's gonna get the help that she needs. Hopefully she decides to get the help that she needs. But like I said before, I do find it funny that um with all this mess going on with Justin Timberlake and him sitting up in here saying that he's trying so hard for that information and not get out that video footage, which I'm really hoping somebody leaks. TMZ didn't waste no damn time pretty much exposing Britney and getting 911 calls and all this other stuff. So I hate that. I will say this in regards of gender, how the blogs and the tabloids and stuff go harder on women than they do men. Because her and Justin was both out here getting behind the wheel irresponsibly while under the influence. But the way he was treated, now we got things to compare them to. He was treated differently than the way she was. But I called them both out. Y'all know I was up in here reading Justin Timberlake down to the damn ground. So I don't give a fuck if you got billions of dollars or you got $2 in the damn bank. You're gonna get it the same. You getting the reads and the roast and the gags just the same. So that's the latest on this right now. I will definitely keep you abreast of this story as it develops because I'm sure more tea will be coming out. TMZ been going in overdrive. Digging up all the mess. Now somebody saying I lost it at her erratic ass. Oh, because I wrote that in my post. Somebody also said this is what y'all wanted. Britney is not well and refuses to get treatment. You mix alcohol with bipolar disorder and you get DUIs. Ooh. Another person said, if you can't see the obvious difference between her situation compared to most others, then you're a fucking idiot. Oh, I had to read this bitch too. So let me read you what I said to this hoe before I clock out. Or well, not from the whole show, but from this story. And I was like, and what's the obvious difference, genius, since you felt the need to post this dumbass comment on my page that she's rich, that mentally she's out there where the buses don't run? So since you smarter than me regarding logic and common sense, explain it to me like the fucking idiot you think I am. I almost wrote like a 4-year-old. Explain to me like a 4-year-old, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna just go with that. You know, I'm a wordsmith when it comes to people trying to come for me in the comments. So Inquiring minds want to know. I'm like, you gonna talk to me like I'm a dumb bitch? Explain it to me, since I'm a fucking idiot, according to you. So yeah, that's the tea for now. I would like I said before, I'm gonna keep y'all abreast of this story as it develops because I'm sure, like, this is like catnip for the white media, the white mainstream media. So they're gonna be having their foot on Britney neck, and then she'll have to go into hiding again in that house. So I want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? And like I said, I don't know. Kate is a little weird because I'm like, now all of a sudden you coming out trying to act. Oh, I'm glad you said the right thing. It is, and her behavior is an excuse, but you got to do better as a manager. And I don't like the whole idea of Lynn and the kids coming out because I did see this one tweet before I get off because I'm starting to remember all the things now. Um, where and they posted Nicole Scherzinger picture. So somebody put, I feel like most people aren't paying attention to the entire timeline. December 20th, Britney sells the rights to her entire music catalog. February 17th, Lynn Spears is spotted arriving in LA. February 23rd, Britney posts a series of concerning videos to Instagram. February 25th, Sean and Jaden are spotted in LA. March 4th, Britney is arrested for alleged DUI. March 5th, Britney is taken to the hospital. March 5th, Kate Hudson tells TMZ that Britney's loved ones are coming up with an overdue needed plan to set her up for success. I don't know what all that means, but I guess you're trying to say because of the timeline, like she's it's like they could do whatever they want and they can come at you any which way they want. You don't have to take the bait to give them a reason to want to, I guess, find a way to lock you back up in another conservatorship where they could bleed you dry financially. So I guess you're trying to say since she sold her musical catalog, these people can't make no more money off of her. It's unfortunate that this girl doesn't have anybody in her family or close enough that can really look out for her and have her best interests at heart. It's unfortunate. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Whatever your thoughts are on this story, let me know in the comments down below. Oh Lord. Um, we and a third person are here for the dragging. Yeah. I was listening to In the Zone. Funny enough, I forgot to mention, I was watching the damn Onyx Hotel tour the other day, and here she come getting behind the wheel and acting a fool. You say I was listening to In the Zone yesterday morning when making breakfast, and I was when I'm doing some sketching, I find out one of my favorites got arrested. And to do something. It is a southern thing, and Brittany is country. It's exactly that's why I said like put the kid on the lap. I see people that did that. I have family that's from the South, so I wasn't judging her on that. But it's mainstream. If you come from a metropolis, whatever the case is, L.A., New York, where media is apparent, they're gonna judge you on that. So you trying to do all that country bumpkin shit and bringing that to California, they're gonna look at you sideways, even though it's a normal thing that they do. I'm not saying it's right. It's just what happens. I can attest to that. Southerners love to hold a baby in their lap while driving. I can see myself doing this. Just don't stop short. Probably mixed with prescription. Yeah, that's what I was thinking because they were saying like she's been taking. Well, look, they said that the substance, unidentified substance that was in the car was Adderall. That's what they're assuming, and they were saying that she's been going down to Mexico to get Adderall because I guess she's not gonna be able to get it here. So she got to go to Mexico to get it, and I'm sure like it's a lot cheaper too because I remember we talked about it on the show. We didn't do it as a topic, but we talked about it on the show that a lot of Americans are actually going down to Mexico to get their medications because it's a lot cheaper. They're going down to get like going down to get eyeglasses, prescription glasses, or whatever the case is, medicines, pills, whatever you call it, because it's a lot cheaper. In America, everything is overpriced. So it's like y'all are aware of what our government is doing to us, but instead of y'all voting in progressives that want to actually bring costs down and this, that, and the other, you feel it's much easier to just jump on over to Mexico, cross the border with your passport, and get shit cheaper. Because you know that's your little secret that you go over there and get stuff for cheap, but you don't want everybody else to know you're sick. Because you know a lot of people out here are mad selfish. So I think that's where a lot of that comes from. Just selfish ass people. Yeah, that too. Kara Crocker, that mess. Kara Crockpot. That's what we need to call her. I heard K-Fab. Oh, well, yeah, that's the next story. We're going to get into that. I got a K-Fab story. I heard K-Fab was sued by Bank of America. Well, we already said the book wasn't going to sell. We knew that before he even released it. Time went by fast. Well, as a wise one once said, time goes by so slowly for those who wait. No time to hesitate. He said, let me read this whole before I clock out. I don't know where the fuck that came from. That is probably my read this whole before I clock out. He said Britney has a whole lot of pretty and famous that too. And I think that a lot of times is pretty privilege. And she uses the fact that she's famous to get away with shit. Because if this was any other person and she wasn't Britney Jean Spears, she would not have gotten out the way she got out, and they wouldn't be talking about, oh, she may not do jail time and all this other stuff. It was any other regular person, she would have been handled differently than she was, but because she's a celebrity, you can't sit and say that her privilege didn't help her get out of this situation. I mean, she still has to go before a judge in May, but probably a slap on the wrist. Because if I'm not mistaken, this is her first time. I think this is her first offense. She's never been arrested before. He said she got a pass for speeding 2 times in the same year a while back. She also got away with a lot during her hate. Exactly. So even though the press, the media, and the paparazzi was, tailing her and doing all these crazy things to her just because they want to get their photos so they can get their money. She wasn't that innocent either. With that being said, Britney is still the princess of pop. Britney called herself the queen of pop in 2008. Well, oh yeah, I remember hearing that. Wasn't that what the hell's his name? Danger, that called that the princess, that queen of pop. And that was on was it Kill the Lights? I think it was the song that they said that on. Which I'm like, girl, you're not the queen of pop. That'll always be Madonna. Which we're gonna talk about later on in the show. Oh wait, let me close all these windows because now that I'm done roasting and saying what I said, I can't wait to clip that video and put it up on social media. And it's going to Facebook too, where them comments is where I read it from. And if people feel bad, in the words of Britney, if you're feeling froggy, leave. I ain't losing any sleep. That's where the song is from. Kill the Lights, that line. Mm-hmm. Anyway, now let's go from Britney to her ex-husband. Let's talk about Kevin Federline. So you ain't the only one that's dealing with some legal troubles and things of that nature. Apparently, they sit out here and said that Kevin Federline has been going through some situations while behind the scenes. And it's funny how, like, I guess they were saying, well, with Britney and stuff she dealing with, what her ex dealing with? And I guess they was doing some digging and came across this. So Britney Spears' ex-husband could be facing legal ramifications of his own. Kevin Federline has reportedly been spending extravagantly, and that may be adding up. And how did he get that money? So clearly he was out here expending Britney's extravagant cointadas when it should have been going towards them babies, meaning the 2 kids that you have with her. But you was probably out here using some of that for yourself. Let's get into the article because they might be telling us where apparently them finances was coming from. They said this news comes as Britney Spears spent a few hours in jail, blah, 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 for the DUI situation. So according to Us Weekly, they said that Federline, who is 47, is dealing with a lawsuit over unpaid credit card bills. Court documents obtained by Us claim that Bank of America sued Federline over more than $12,000 on February 19th in Hawaii. Federline has allegedly failed to make the payment. TMZ was first to report the news on Friday, March 6th. So it came out today, this morning, that Kevin Federline out here dealing with some legal situations of his own. Now, they said the account was open in December of 2024, which was 1 month after Spears stopped paying Federline 20 grand a month in child support for their 2 sons, according to TMZ. So I guess all that little money that you had, you decided to use that money to open up an account with Bank of America? So I should say, by the way, that Us Weekly has reached out to Federline for comment. He hasn't spoken back as of yet. Now, we already know the history, but let's go through it. Now, apparently, Spears and Federline were married from 2004 to 2007, and they have 2 kids together, Sean Preston, who's 20, and James, who's 19. Federline addressed the child support payments in his October 2025 memoir, You Thought You Knew. Well, what I would have named now the book was Who the Fuck Asked, because we didn't. Now, he said, when Britney and I divorced, the court awarded me 20 grand a month in child support. At the same time, I was receiving alimony, another 20K a month for half the duration of our marriage, a marriage that lasted 2 years and change. People hear figures like that and think you're financially set, but the reality is far from that. Well, sir, you were getting alimony, which was 20K. You were getting 20K from the kids. I'm wondering, was that 20K for each kid, or was it 10K each kid leading up to 20,000? 20,000 a month, 20,000 times 12. Hold on, let me do that math. No shit. I gotta find my calculator on my phone. Okay. So that'd probably be like what, $240,000 a year? Sir, that's more money than any of us will see in our lifetime. You could do so much with $240,000 a month. So I don't understand how you sit up here trying to act like, oh, they act like it's that's a whole lot, but it's far from that. If you know how to budget, if you're not out here trying to ball like you Jay-Z, like you balling like you a mogul, if you actually live frugally and beyond your means, where the money should be going, get a nice house so that way you and the kids got something to stay in, pay off the whole house, mortgage, all of that. You could have paid all of that. You could have paid off the whole mortgage with the amount of money you was making from that. So that way you have a set home that everybody could just be up in, and all you got to worry about is the utilities. And then making sure that you use some of that money to make sure your kids are in good schools, that whatever sports or music activities, because we know one of the kids played the piano, so pay for the piano lessons with the money and all this other stuff. But you should have also been out there making your little money while you receiving money from Britney. But you wanted to live beyond your means. You were living off that girl, and now look at you, in debt. Now, he addressed rumors that he wrote the book because Spears' child support payments ended in an interview with Entertainment Tonight. Federline told the outlet that money is not at the root of the story, and it never has been. Well, that's a damn lie, because if you really wanted to come out and speak about Britney, you could have wrote that book while you were still getting the child support money. Or maybe you couldn't, because that was probably something that you didn't want to screw up the money. But now that the well run dry, and now that the kids is old enough, and now they got to fend for themselves, the timing of it all says otherwise. So that's why nobody's buying what you're selling. So we don't need to get into the details of the whole Britney situation with her getting arrested, because we already talked about that in the previous story. But it's just unfortunate, because you know what? There's a prime example why it seems like Britney is the mess that she is because when you get opportunists, which we all saw him as an opportunist from the damn beginning. Back when she was dating him and she was I always felt that Britney got with Kevin because Kevin was somebody that she could rebel against regarding family, the media, paparazzi, whatever you want to call it, because he had kind of that wigger bad boy persona. That's what Kevin was giving. She ain't gonna fuck a black man, so that's close enough that she gonna get the one. Well, actually, she did mess around with Columbus Short, so I can't sit up there allegedly. But so I can't 110% say that she ain't never been around no black meat, no dark meat. But Kevin Federline is like the best of both worlds. Like he's palatable, he's cute. Well, was back in the day. Kevin Federline was good looking back in the day. Body was right, cute face, long, nice hair, whatever the case was. And he had a little bit of that faux shiz swag to him. Kind of like when she was referencing corny ass Justin Timberduce when he was going around and doing the beatboxing and the faux shiz and all that mess. So it was cute or whatever what he was giving. And now you stuck in a situation where you got a bum for a baby daddy who basically just uses any chance he can get to get squeeze any juice out of the lemon. And Britney is so damn broken down and fragile that any little thing, she just has to come to the place of figuring out how to better herself. I really hope for her sake that she gets it together and has the comeback that she wants. Meaning, you don't have to come out and release new music or do whatever the case. I wish you kind of would get to a place where, you know what, you're no longer in the conservatorship. You don't have to worry about your father taking advantage of you and those other things. That if you really wanted to put in the work and make a comeback for your own sake, your own mental health and that sort of thing, I really think that she could do it. But I just feel like Britney is just not interested in wanting to better herself. And we clearly see it in a lot of the behavior online because no shade, all that shit when we were seeing her looking crazy and them chipped teeth and the running mascara and the crazy hair look like it ain't been combed in weeks. Y'all can't sit up in here and tell me that shit is normal. No normal human being acts like that. And y'all know y'all be cringing when y'all look at it. But it's like, oh, if I say something, then I'm a hater or I'm gloating or I'm a enabler. It's like, no, you're an enabler if you're going to sit and ignore the signs. So we can't critique when you putting yourself out there in public to be critiqued. And then when we question the behavior, we're a hater. Okay. So what do you suggest? Since y'all know every goddamn thing. So, Kevin, good luck on trying to figure out how to pay off that damn credit card debt because the well has run dry over there in the Spears household. She is not going to be able to get you out of this whole situation. You better go on down and get you a job. Wasn't he DJing before? Maybe you better go start popozaling your ass over to a couple of parties or whatever, house parties. Say I do baby showers and bar mitzvahs and quinceañeras. You better learn how to play some bachata if you're gonna be over there doing that. Or, get you a gig at some club. I'm sure somebody will give you a little something, a little job here and there. Because your wife, I think she works in a college. Her salary ain't gonna be enough. And you as a man, you gotta pay that shit off on your own. So I say all this to say, excuse me. What do you guys think of this story regarding Kevin Federline caught up in some credit card debt? Because he out here spending money. He cashing checks that he's not even good on. And I'm thinking maybe he was doing this crazy spending because he probably thought that people were interested enough to read that book that he came out with and not realizing that, sir, read the room. I could have read the tea leaves for you ahead of time and said nobody wants this book. Britney got way more fans that care about protecting her well-being than wanting to read your tired ass book of bullshit. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I meant to say writing checks that your ass can't cash. I don't know why my brain just went a completely different direction. What she damn sure was. He said, not Bank of America suing for fucking 12 grand. Y'all know they don't play. I'm glad I don't mess with Bank of America. Mine's as Wells Fargo. He said, imagine getting 12 a month and still can't, 20K a month and still can't live off it. That's why I said $20,000. Like if any of us was getting $20,000 a month, trust and believe, we be good. We be living good in a lot of our situations. We wouldn't be out here, most of us having to live paycheck to paycheck or struggling or trying to figure out how we gonna pay this, that, and the other, and just happy that we getting by as the months go by. So You getting $20,000. I just don't understand how you could make that work. And is Netflix acquired? Oh yeah, I did hear that. I was watching the Hot Mic with Jeff Snyder and John Roca yesterday, and they were basically talking about that Ben Affleck has an AI company, and basically they're going to use the technology for like once it's like for post production. Basically, it's not like replacing actors or whatever the case is. It's to come in and do special effects shots and all that other stuff. So, um, I'm sure people will be out of jobs, but I don't think it'll be as bad. You said 240,000. Most people even make that in 3 years. Okay, you getting 200? Yeah, because I was like 40K. Well, how much teachers make? Like 30 to 40,000. Well, no, he's not. It's not 40 a month. Well, yeah, I guess it was 40 a month because if he said he was getting 30, I mean 20 with child support, and I'm guessing 10 for each kid, and another 20 in alimony, but that alimony only lasted. That's why I didn't really count it because he was only getting that alimony for the 3 years that he was married to Britney. After that, it went back to the straight up 20. And then he thought I'm gonna be slick and extend the child support by moving to Hawaii because Hawaii is part of the United States, but they have a different law regarding that. Oh, if you live in Hawaii, then you can get the child support a little longer versus living in California. So he knew what he was doing, pulling stunts and shows. And now look at you. He almost got 5 million over the course of time of him getting child support. And that's why I said all that damn money and you just didn't know how to spend it. I know Hawaii is expensive, but he could just move into a smaller house. Exactly. He got like what? I think he got like 6 kids. He got 2 with the new wife, 2 with Shaw Jackson, and 2 with Britney. So the 2 with Shaw, I'm sure they probably live with their mother still, or they probably grown and living on their own. Sean and Jaden are pretty much adults now. They're 19 and 20, so they're not kids anymore. I mean, technical sense, they are kids, but they're older. And the 2 little ones that he got with his latest wife, not at Walmart, McDonald's. That sounds about right. Because Brittany, remember, the minute Brittany got her first whiff of dick, oh, it was over. So yeah, and well, and then here's what Cleveland said. Yeah, start a OF, get up online, start a OnlyFans, start going chatterbait and start beating your dick for some coins, stick a "Oh my body" in your asshole. You know what that is? That little thing, that little pink thing that you stick in your butt, and then they could vibrate it for some coins, like you playing Mario Kart, and literally just go to town. Bust a couple of notes, bust a couple of nuts for some change. I cannot get into the white chocolate type because they always end up like, and that douche. Brittany should have just gotten with Columbus Short or Tyson Beckford and had her a biracial child. Child, could you imagine dealing with him? Not him having all them damn kids. Well, at least he married the other woman that he was with. All right, y'all. So now let's get into the rest of the show. Hold on, because another comment just came in. You said not a dildo when the ass that vibrates when you tip. Y'all never heard of that? That's a oh my god. hmm The boys be all up on chatterbait with them things and they behind, making it vibrate for some tips. Okay, anyway, y'all ain't gonna hear nothing like that on any other show but this one. All right, y'all. So now let's get back into the show and let's talk about Mathew Knowles. So the other day we played a clip of Mathew, and I got the clips and everything. Mathew Knowles basically abruptly getting up from this Pix 11. That's like a local news station that we have in New York, WPIX Channel 11, which was actually the same channel as like the CW in New York. It's very Pix 11. Um, but yeah, so he did an interview and got upset because the guy asked him, the interviewer had asked him about Tina Knowles' contributions to Destiny's Child and was saying like, yeah, it was equal, like how she contributed just as much as he did. And apparently he got upset and walked out of the interview, whatever the case was. What I didn't know was that clip was never supposed to make it on air because apparently Lauren LaRosa over at the Breakfast Club had revealed that that was supposed to be cut out. We weren't even supposed to see that, but apparently somebody came across the footage and leaked it, and now Mathew out here looking crazy. And I even got the post regarding of what Tina had to say about the situation. So, as a refresher of the brain, let's go over to Hollywood Unlocked. Shout out to Jason and them over there. We're going to play this clip because this is fair use. So that's what I'm using it under. And we're going to come back and talk. Please hold.
It's the same thing to Tina Knowles. You guys put in the work, and obviously the talent was there with your kids and your grandkids.
What work did she put in?
In the hair.
Okay, yeah, you're absolutely right. And the styling.
The styling.
The imaging, you're right.
She claimed to have preyed on the name and different aspects of that.
Sure. Sure.
So, yeah. It's a joint effort.
We'll stop now.
Sorry, did I say something wrong?
No. We're good.
All right.
We're good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. You've earned your flag.
All right. So, did I say something wrong? Oops, I didn't know I couldn't talk about Tina. It's like, apparently you couldn't. But that's not where it stopped. So, of course, people ate him up. We're going to get to that in a second. But then Tina decided to give a little subtle shade towards what Mathew had to say. Another clip we got from Hollywood Unlocked. So we're going to play that. We're going to come back and talk again. Please hold.
G-shaped culture. Being the matriarch is a big piece of the puzzle, but it's not the full picture. The truth is, her story is no different from other Black artists who were blocked from participating in the mainstream, mocked for their work, and yet ultimately copied. Miss Tina left the hair salon to devote time to building Destiny's Child. She answered the question, how do you create a girl group that looks cohesive, honoring the past while still maintaining individual personality for each of its members? With major names refusing to dress Destiny's Child, she used bold fabrics and designs to create some of the most iconic looks of an era. They called her work tacky until it became couture, with similar looks showing up on runways. Nevertheless, this became the ultimate girl group blueprint, with the biggest girl groups now using the Tina Knowles method of cohesive individuality. And if that wasn't enough, in a return to form, Tina Knowles was able to take the decades of knowledge of hair health and styling and turn that into a successful prestige hair care brand. Sacred. From redefining hair to defining the look of an era, we celebrate the beauty icon, the matriarch, badass Teeny B, a true uncrowned queen. Tina Knowles doesn't really get.
See, and then if y'all can't see it at the bottom, it says Miss Tina Knowles repost by Iken Brooks SXYZ, and it said, "Thank you for the beautiful piece on me and my designs." So she wasn't gonna come in and, Tina's gonna be very much, I'm gonna take the high road when they, very Michelle Obama with it. When they go low, we go high. And I like the fact that she was giving her flowers over her contribution, because I definitely feel that Tina contributed just as much to the Destiny's Child as Mathew did. And we were always, I thought, it was always understood that, yeah, Tina was very much coming up with how the girls looked and giving them the image and all that other stuff, very much following. And I do agree. I'm like, yeah, that was definitely spot on. They were a cross between the Supremes and the Spice Girls, which is like they had their own individual personality, but they had them looking cohesive in a lot of ways. Like the fabric designs were the same, but they all had their individual styles within that fabric. It kind of reminded me of how my mother used to dress us. Like, she used to design our outfits whenever we would go to like Six Flags, whatever. So if any one of us disappeared and they were like, how to describe one of us, she'd be like, they wearing this suit, this exact short set that I would wear. My sister and my brother was wearing it. So we all pretty much just wore the same outfits or whatever because she designed our clothes. So it makes sense, like, how she definitely contributed a lot to the group. But the fact of the matter was, he decided to show his entire ass and try to act like he was the sole creative force behind Destiny's Child, because, he probably put up a lot of money on getting these girls to get in the business and paying for I guess recording sessions and studio time, whatever the case is. But you also got to realize this, sir. while you wouldn't quit your job so that when you could focus full time on getting Beyonce and them to whatever gigs they need to get to, Tina still held down that beauty salon and was still working while you was over there helping her out. So we're not going to sit and just diminish her contributions to the situation. But that's not all, because then Mathew decided to backpedal on what he had to say. I think this is the same video, but if it's not, it might be the other one. Let me check. Oh, yeah. So some people in the comments was like, was that clapback for Mathew? The other person, it actually wasn't funny enough. This was written 2 weeks ago. The other person said, God worked through you, because how dare that man play in her face? The other person said, impact on the culture is far-reaching and will never be forgotten. And that's another thing, too. Y'all need to give Tina her flowers, because you do notice a lot of these K-pop groups, a lot of fashion designers, y'all want to call her tacky, whatever, probably because y'all was mad that you thought that y'all was going to be like, we're not going to give them little N-words our designs. Because I'm sure that's what y'all was thinking when y'all was like, no. And then Tina was like, fine, we don't need y'all. I'm gonna come up here and design these girls' looks. And now the influence of Destiny's Child has trickled down into the K-pop group scene and many other girl groups. And a lot of people have taken from the styles and the looks and how those girls carry themselves and have carried it into what they do. So it's funny how y'all don't want to give her the flowers, but y'all acknowledging later. So hold on, because I'm like, do I not have? Oh wait, I think it is the other video.
So Mathew, in the interview, when the local anchor here in New York City, Candace Gibson, he asked you about Miss Tina Knowles. He said that he was trying to give you both your flowers, and you asked him, what did she do? What did you mean by that?
I think I calmly, what I said, and I'm actually quoting, what work did she put in? It was a question. When I don't do interviews, Carlos, I have conversations.
Yeah.
And I have the right, as you know, I'm a college professor. I didn't know what he meant by that. So I'm saying calmly, what work did she put in? That was a question.
See, before we get to the rest of it, now he want to sit and act like we stupid and he want to play in our face. I was asking the question. Now, what did you mean? You didn't ask that. You could have clearly, if you wasn't sure of, because I'm a college professor, well, you showed up acting like you was a D student rather than a college professor, because if there was an issue with the situation where you wasn't understanding where the guy was coming from, you could have asked him, what do you mean by that? Do you care to elaborate? You've been around in this business long enough to know how this shit works. And for you to sit up in here and try to blame the interviewer, and then he decides to blame us. So is everybody's fault but his? And we already currently living in a timeline where people refuse to take accountability for the stuff they say. But since I didn't set this up, I should say this. This clip is actually because when he got his ass dog walked all over social media by the Beehive, then he decided to do an interview with Page Six and backpedal on what he said. But then, based off of his response, it came across way worse than it did before. So now people still looking at glasses all side-eyed. So let's get back into the clip and we'll continue.
I don't know how that became a comment, but it was a question. And then the gentleman went on to say her hair. Well, Tina did way more than just her hair. And if you look at the interview, I said her hair. No, she did.
So Mathew, in the interview,
that's not true. You didn't ask it with her hair. No, you was like, you agreed when he was like, oh, well, she did the hair. So you basically diminished Tina's contribution to the group as just doing their hair and making their outfits. You basically made her the stylist. That's what you diminished her to. So we're not going to sit up in here and try to act like that's not what that was. You didn't ask him with a question. You literally went along with the situation. And then when he kept, I guess you was in your feelings about the fact that you had to share equal fitting with your ex-wife, you was all up in your feelings. But remember, it was you decided to go around and allegedly slide your penis, slip, trip, and put your dick in some vaginas other than Miss Tina Knowles and have a couple of babies on her while y'all were married. Allegedly.
The styling built the image for Destiny's Child. Wouldn't you agree that that's way more than just saying someone did the hair?
No, absolutely. I think a lot of people are familiar with Destiny's Child's story. I mean, they're one of the biggest female groups of all time. And so I think a lot of people felt like it was an awkward moment. It certainly appeared to be awkward. And I think people wanted clarity because they know what Miss Tina has done. They, of course, know your legacy with Destiny's Child.
The styling.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's not what you gave us, sir, with that conversation. So I just don't understand, like, what else could we mention about this whole situation? Because I just feel like Mathew has just not taken any kind of responsibility for what he said regarding his ex. And I just say, look, just own up to it. Just say, you know what? I misspoke. I was in my feelings. And here's what I meant by the situation. It's like she contributed way more to Destiny's Child than just, hair and makeup and designing the outfits. I mean, quiet as it's kept, she pushed. Well, I don't know if she had a C-section or she had a natural birth, but Beyonce came out of her, so that's enough. You birthed one of the biggest pop stars on the planet. So, Mathew Child, I don't know what to say about you, but keep trying to, I guess, make Destiny's Child just a thing that you continue to squeeze money out of, because at this point, anybody. Now, this Bobby also, I think, makes sense as to why Beyonce refuses to get the girls back together to do a Destiny's Child reunion tour, because her father, I guess, owns that, where she owns the solo thing. And the only way that she can, I guess, get around it is the fact that whenever I do the final night of Destiny's Child, that I could drag out Kelly and Michelle, and we'll have a little moment on stage. And I guess fans, that's what we all gonna have to deal with until Mathew leave the earth, because that's probably the only time we'll get Destiny's Child reunion without him benefiting financially off of Beyonce, because I know she refuses to give him a dime. She's like, you can live off of the legacy of what was, but you're not getting no new money from me. So, especially when you out here talking shit about my mother. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Regarding what Mathew had to say, he was responding to the viral Tina thing and said he's evaluating all legal remedies. Now, regarding him saying, I'm evaluating all legal remedies, what does that even mean? Because you basically said that he and Tina have a wonderful relationship. So much so that he refused to refer to her as his ex-wife, because he said, yeah, that's a negative term. I've never referred to Tina as my ex. I'm always positive. She's my former wife, and I give her the respect of that rather than saying ex. Well, I'm glad that you want to be politically correct on what you want to refer to people as. That still doesn't excuse this other mess. And I just don't understand what you're talking about, that I'm evaluating all legal remedies at this time. Is it because that you didn't want that video to get out? And now that it's leaked, now you feel like I'm going to sue and I'm going to file a lawsuit or whatever? It's like, at the end of the day, you said what you said when you was on camera, and you don't own that footage from Pix 11. So they could do whatever the hell they want to do with the footage. Once you decide to talk on camera, it's fair use. So let's say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are regarding this mess, let me know in the comments down below. Why does this cat? Mathew stole Destiny's Child from. Oh, no shade to Mama Tina, but girl groups we're doing that cohesive individual. Well, that's true. I mean, look, wasn't the conversation always that Beyonce was notorious for taking from people that, you know? And then again, there's nothing new under the sun. And she always says, I'm paying homage. I'm paying homage. He only acts that way towards other Black interviewers and journalists. You know what I've always noticed? Isn't that what they always say about a lot of these Black folks? I remember even Amon Wiggins be trying to throw that out there when it comes to Cardi. Oh, at least she going after somebody white for once. Because they always feel like when it comes to a lot of Black people or Black artists or people in the industry, that Black people will always treat their own like shit. But then when they're in the room with the white folks, the energy shifts. Wouldn't it be a gag if Mathew gives over the rights of Destiny's Child to his now wife? Can you imagine? Not the new bitch having control over my Destiny Child. He said, sidebar, did you hear Nintendo is using the United States government? Oh, Oh, you saying suing the United States? I mean, get in line because there's a lot of people suing over the tariffs. First of all, them tariffs things should not have even happened in the beginning. But yeah, I've been hearing there's been a lot of lawsuits. As far as the Nintendo thing, I didn't hear about that, but I've been hearing about other companies that were talking about suing over the tariffs. And I'm telling him the Supreme Court saying like, yeah, you can't be out here putting tariffs on stuff, and then the lunatic with that nasty, the nasty hand rotten, the nasty rash on his neck is over here telling people, well, I'm gonna increase it even more. Okay, well, you do that. All right, y'all. So now, let's move on and let's talk about Danta, who has currently word on the street, and it's according to the Mirror. So we'll take it with a grain of. But I was gonna say take it with a grain of salt, but I actually believe this story. Madonna. Well, I'm sure she's probably done by now, but apparently she was in London shooting the music video for her upcoming single for her upcoming 15th album, which we don't even know what the name of the album is. So we're just gonna call it M15 or COADF Part 2. Maybe we'll call it that. But yeah, so apparently they said that she's been so they're calling her Madam Sex, which I thought was pretty funny. And she's currently in she was in the UK making music video for this new song. So over the next 2 days, the 67. Wait, when did this article come out? So that way I could probably do the math better. Because it was like it said March. Oh wait, so it was 2 days ago. So it was they updated on March 4th, but it originally was written on March 3rd. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So the article goes and says, over the next 2 days, the 67-year-old singer will be filming her most X-rated music video to date as she gears up to release her new album, dubbed Confessions Part 2. Last night, a 200-strong team descended on a top-secret location in the UK to start work on the adventurous video, which will accompany her lead single later this summer, saying Madonna could have started drawing her state pension last year. Then y'all got to start with the old lady jokes. Like, come on. There's a Madonna could have started drawing her state pension last year, but instead she's been plotting a massive comeback, one insider explains. And far from toning herself down, Madonna is ramping up the sex. This music video is going to push boundaries and shock. Well, hopefully, if it is that it gets past the censors over there on the YouTube, because we need to see this video. Unless Madonna be like, the only way y'all gonna see this video, y'all gotta subscribe to my OnlyFans. And she was like, look, there's a lot of people who make music and post things on OnlyFans, and not just, fornication videos and things of that nature. People actually post things on there where it's like, oh, if I can't post like my video or certain photos because of Instagram and all the censors, then I post it somewhere else where you can get beyond the censors. But then again, it's Madonna, and I do feel like YouTube will maybe they'll age restrict it. I mean that's much better. We grown over here. So they said she has employed a top intimacy coordinator to be on set to make sure that everyone feels comfortable and that everything they're doing is in a controlled environment. Madonna never wants to be pigeonholed, and although she's 3 years off turning 70, she wants the public to know she's still the ultimate pop sex symbol. The video is the first of a new campaign, which comes off the back of her signing a massive deal with Warner Records, the label she launched her career with last year. The mother of six has turned to director Torso, the mastermind behind Charlie XCX's 2024 video for Von Dutch, to oversee the shoot, and has brought on board her choreographer Damien Gillet, who worked on her Madam X shows in 2019 and Celebration tour 2 years ago. And as well as ramping up the sex, Madonna is preparing to push herself to the extreme physically. That's what kind of worries me, because I always feel like one of the things about Madonna that has always worried me is the fact that, yeah, as she's older, she tends to push herself too much. And that's why she had the thing where she had to be in the hospital and was in the ICU for a couple of days. So I just feel like don't overexert yourself. But I think that maybe she's gotten better. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that she's gotten better at pacing herself when she's doing certain things. Because we always know that Madonna always tries to push herself physically. So I like the idea that she has Torso coming on a direct, because I love the Von Dutch video. I love how instant it feels, like her running through the airport and doing all kinds of crazy shit. So I like that whole vibe of the video. So I think it's smart that she would work with someone that Charlie XCX has worked with. Now, they said there are flying scenes being set up on location. Madonna has her body double, Maddie Love, on board, but wants to do some stunts herself. They said she's physically in the best condition and is incredibly fit and strong. Well, we have been seeing her out here doing a lot of her toning and the headstands and the yoga. We have been seeing her doing that, the same stuff she was doing when she was in her 40s. And I will say this, we've seen pictures of Madonna. Madonna, I will agree, is in the best shape of her career, and she's been looking good. So I can't be mad at, how physically she has to keep it up. But unfortunately, as a pop star, that's a requirement that you have to be in great shape because y'all be so quick to be out here reading people if they get fat. So they said they called upon a specialist of the acrobatic group Cirque du Soleil to help with the arrangement and appear in the scenes too. Madonna has seen what younger female artists are doing at the moment and knows many of them have cited her as an inspiration. She wants to use the video to prove that she's still a pioneer when it comes to her artistry. Now, Torso, who has worked with Charlie XCX and Katy Perry before, they're artists at the top of their game, and Madonna wants this video to show that in her 7th decade, she is still the artist who is laying down the foundations other stars walk upon, saying Madonna is reclaiming her throne. So then it said the Pop Queens team have been working on this video for months with hundreds of thousands of pounds being spent on the project. The source adds the size of this shoot is enormous, and the fact it's taking 3 whole days shows the magnitude of what Madonna has planned. There have been 41 dancers called up for the video, along with a massive costume team, who have been locked away working on designs for Madonna for months. It's going to be a visual spectacle. This is nothing like Madonna fans will have seen from her before. Here's the thing, because this had me thinking. It immediately popped in my head. When they said that she's got a lot of dancers and Cirque du Soleil and all this craziness, and she's really pushing the boundaries, do you think that maybe she's saw the Abracadabra video and is like, oh no, bitch? I mean, it's no shade to Gaga, but I'm just saying, like, she saw the Abracadabra video and was like, well, that video was very much extravagant, over the top. The choreography was sickening. Shout out to Paris Goebel for what she did with that video, the video and the choreography and all that stuff. But she's like, yeah, I'm the one who laid down the foundation for how these girls come and approach music and music videos and live stage performance and all that stuff. And so I want to show y'all, like, yes, I'm a queen coming back from my throne that I have set the foundation for 40 some odd years ago. So I do wonder if, like, maybe she saw the extravagance of Abracadabra and was like, oh no, checkmate, bitch. Like, we need to upstage this video just a bit. It's just, friendly competition. It's no tea. So they also went on to say the Sun first revealed Madonna had started work on this record in 2023, with the star returning to work with British producer Stuart Price. He was the mastermind, y'all know, for her #1 2005 record, Confessions on the Dance Floor, spawning mega hits including Get Together, Jump, Sorry, and Hung Up. Our source explained, they said Stewart was credited with helping Madonna return to form with their Confessions album, and it's the same this time around. The music they've created for this album isn't what fans might be expecting. So much of the record is steeped in reflections of what Madonna has been through over the past few years, including losing her brother and almost dying. The record is still packed full of hits, but it's not the upbeat pop fans might have been expecting. Madonna bosses over at Warner are so excited for this new campaign that she is a huge priority for them. And here's the thing. My thing is, if she wants to come in and talk about what's going on in her personal life, I've heard that she has a song on the album, and she did mention it when she did Jay Shetty's podcast, that she wrote a song about her brother, Christopher, who passed away. And we want those moments from her. We want one thing we love as Madonna fans, we like the vulnerable side. We like when she comes and speaks on certain things in her life, like her marriages and the death of her mother, which she's written many songs about her mother, and so many things that have been deeply personal in her life. And that's what we like about her, even though she does come across as untouchable and like this godlike creature or whatever the case was, how mega stars they usually are. The thing that we love about Madonna is her vulnerability and how she expresses that in her art and her music. So that's what we're looking forward to. It now, as far as like the music goes, I'm not expecting what we heard in Confessions, because Madonna's someone who doesn't like to repeat herself. There's so many different genres of electronic music and dance music that you could explore in that world, that she could try different sounds and stuff. I'm not saying it's going to be like Harry Styles' record, which a lot of people I've been hearing saying is boring. I don't think she's going to go in that direction in regards of electronic music, but I definitely feel like there's going to be an 808 behind quite a few tracks. And then I'm hearing that there's going to be a little industrial vibe that they're going to be bringing to the music as well. So whatever she decides to do with that record, we'll be here for it. And I'm looking forward to hearing it as well as the first single. So they said the first single would drop in the coming months, with the full album later this summer. There is a lot riding on this new record, which will be Madonna's first since 2019's Madam X. The 7-year gap is the longest time she's ever left between her music releases, and this reinvention, they said, was born out of a tough few years for her. And so, yeah, she's been through a lot. Remember, we talked about the sepsis. She was in the ICU. There was the Celebration tour, which I know as an artist, she didn't want to let us down, so she still went through it because she didn't want to have to eat all that money that she would have to owe to Live Nation because she got to cancel because for being sick. It was like, give me some time to get together. And she did the tour. She got through it, and we lived for it. So I'm looking forward to the new album. I definitely think that late summer is the perfect time to drop this new single, because Madonna is somebody who likes releasing music when it's warm. Like right now, nobody's out in the bars and in the clubs. It's too damn cold in New York. So that's the best time to get out there and promote this record. And so I'm definitely looking forward to hearing this album when it comes out. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Are you excited for this upcoming new Madonna album? They're talking about that she's trying to bring sexy back with this new for women of a certain age. And I'm like, look, if you look good, if you spend a lot of time on your body, on your face, making yourself look youthful, still out here showing that you could upstage girls half your age and still bagging dudes that's around, my age and younger, then do you needs. I can't wait to be 65 years old. Wait, how old is she? 67? I can't wait to be 67 years old pulling 29-year-olds. Yeah, I'm like, is that gonna be me in a couple in like 20 some odd years? Who knows? It might. But I got in common with a 60-some-year-old at that age. They probably all looking for somebody younger too, or dead. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Oh my God, I'm tired. Oh wait, I should not be yawning on camera. Normally, I don't be doing that. I was like, I must be real comfortable. Smile 3 is in production, and the setup is the Demon took over 58 kids from the concert. So it sounds like it's a continuation of the concert finale. Parker Finn said one of the victims fed by the Demon is 5 years old, so expect that death to be brutal. Like Freddy Snake, each kid will die. The youngest is... Well, I didn't hear anything about Smile 3. I'll look into it because I like the last one. I really like the Smile 2. I like Smile 2 better than I like Smile 1. I was mad. I be hating when y'all be killing off Kyle Gardner. I love me some Kyle Gardner. Y'all gotta stop killing him off. That's Stu's nephew. Y'all done killed him off in Scream 5. Then they killed him in Kill Your Darlings. Then they killed him off in Smile 2. I'm like, can y'all stop killing Kyle? We like Kyle over here. That's what I was saying. I'm like, I don't like the idea of later this summer. I mean, don't get me wrong. We got a lot of good music coming out this year, but still, when it comes to Madonna, probably gotta wait till damn near the summer's over. I think the smart thing to do would be dropping this song in, well, they'll probably drop the song in June or July, whatever the case. It'll be a good song for Pride and Fire Island and all those, in Provincetown and all those little spots that the gays like to go to. I get where he lives. It's summer, but he doesn't understand our winter is different because he just entered fall on the 1st of March. To him, it's insane. We still have weeks till winter. Well, I know, on the East Coast, we'll be good because it's warmer, but then you got to think about on the other side of the continent, they're going to be dealing with their winter or their fall. But when we get our summer, they're going to be getting their winter. So you should do the first to the last. You should do the first to the last day each 3 months, like the rest of us. America has to be there. What I'm nervous about is her saying the album is a continuation to Confessions, only for it to be a letdown and stained. Yeah, because I hate when people because Confessions on a dance floor is held as such a high bar for a lot of people in regards of the quality of that album, that if you try to call it a sequel of sorts, it makes it hard for. It's like, yeah, I could definitely see the negative that's going to come out with that. So I do feel you on that. That um people are going to fear that this record will let them down because then they'll be trying to compare it to Confessions. But what I'm looking forward to is when the album drops and all the big Madonna fans are on, out here dissecting every aspect of the music and doing the Confessions comparisons. Maybe we'll do a special episode of that. By that time, I should have the Patreon set up, and I might do it over there. Where it's like, oh, come over to the Patreon. We'll just sit, listen to the album. We'll break stuff down, and we'll have conversations and all that other stuff. That'd be a great show to put together. But I want them to do the whole breakdown and dissecting of everything, kind of like how you got a lot of these Scream 7 fans because I be watching a lot of horror YouTube channels. One of the ones, Hit the Bricks, that I actually like, with Lee over there at Drum Dums. He has a panel of people he puts together with him and two other guys at the drive-in and Davey Death Ray, where they do a show together. But then he brought on two other people, and they did a whole episode on breaking down Scream and their overall thoughts, which I was like, I was excited to see that because I'm a fan of a lot of those guys. So they definitely need to do that. That's what I said. There's so many great records coming out this year. We got Melody C dropping the album. Cobra dropped the album today. Harry Styles dropped the album today. Slater, I believe, drops her album next week or the week after. I can't remember. There's so many artists coming out with new music. March is packed. Also, Lady Tron's releasing music. They talking about Christina Aguilera's dropping a new album and might be reheating her bionic nachos. So there's a lot of music apparently coming out. I'm really hoping this album can be a resurrection for her music. Because let's be honest, in 2010's material, no, you're absolutely right. How many times have I come on this show and talked about post Confessions? The music was just not hitting. I mean, Hard Candy has some good songs on it, but as far as being a cohesive record, it was all over the place. Rebel Heart was a mess. MDNA was a chop. Dated EDM. MDNA had dated EDM. All them acronyms. Madam X, don't even get me started. I just feel like the reason I don't like Madam X and I don't go back to it, I think is because musically can't relate to it. I can't relate lyrically. I can't relate to the story she's speaking on it. I like the fact that she's taking, a different artistic approach, and she's speaking Portuguese and introducing us to the Spado music and all these different genres of the Portuguese style of music. And that's great, but just couldn't relate. They had some good songs, but I just felt like, I don't know, it just came across a bit pretentious to me. And it's like, we know you cultured, Madonna. You ain't got to remind us. Cardi B spoke out on Ming. I think he meant Ming Lee, not Ming Na. Ming Na is an actress. She said maybe she felt abandoned by Nicki Minaj and is looking for guidance. And you really trying to get Nicki mad out in these streets? Agreed. They said she should have signed the Interscope. We all agree it was her it was almost sabotaging her being on the same the same label as Lady Gaga. Because it's like, yeah, you on Interscope and Gaga's over there, and that's their version of Madonna. You don't think they're gonna put Gaga as priority over you? You should have stayed at Warner, but I guess she had her reasons for leaving Warner, and now she's back over there because that's the label that truly understands her. It's the same thing with Ava Max. Ava Max was at a label where the person that initially got her signed over there had left, and she was left to her own devices and trying to figure things out. And once she parted ways with her label, she went back to the same person who pretty much helped out with her career. And now they're helping her out with this one, with the next step in her music. If I was Madge, I would stop mentioning COADF and let the fans and connect the dots that she's working with the same producers. I really don't want her to run the same plate twice and make. I don't think it'll be the same thing, but I do think the smart thing to do, because I don't think after the disaster that was Madam X, the only thing she could do at this point was work with Stuart Price. I think Stuart Price is the only person that could probably get her back into like getting people excited. Oh, Confessions, Confessions on the Dance Floor. That's one of the most commercially successful albums Madonna's had. And I think that might have been the last commercially successful record Madonna had. I mean, yeah, her albums did okay, but Confessions was like the last big album. That tour was everything. That was actually the first Madonna tour I actually was able to go to with and pay money to go see on my own, was the Confessions tour. So it totally makes sense, like the comparisons, but I do agree that stop mentioning it. Say I'm doing a dance record and leave it at that. Yes, they are. Sequel albums are always a chop too. Pink Friday 2 being a prime example. Oh yeah, that album was a mess. So and was the tour. It's smart that she's adding more industrial and darker elements to this era, especially considering she never went dark besides yeah. And aesthetically, the music was haunting. Aesthetically, it was very goth, but I do agree with that. I definitely want her to do more industrial and darker elements, and it's no shade, but I felt like I say go real industrial. I did not get industrial from Mayhem at all, and I listen to industrial music. I listen to VNV Nation. I listen to Apoptisma Berserk, or as we call them, A-pop. I listen to Marilyn Manson even took elements of industrial and put in his music, 9 Inch Nails. So I listened to a lot of that type of music, and I just wasn't getting that. There may have been little elements here and there, but like real industrial type sounds or whatever, and kind of giving a pop vibe to it. I wasn't getting that from Mayhem. So I definitely feel like, yes, I want her to add those elements. Even Kylie went to BMG in 2017, where the same guy that signed her in 1999 on Parlophone. I begin to think instead of labels, artists should sign with the A&R guys. Yeah, because it's like the A&R people who are running places, they understand you better than these labels, so go to them. You already have a built-in fan base. People will support whatever you do regardless. And it's like, yeah, I'm independent. Get me in the studio with a couple of producers. I'll get out there and I'll do all the work. I get most of the work, but get you a good manager, get you a good A&R, and that's all you need. Especially in this day and age, you don't really need a whole lot of money to put an album together. People making music in their own damn apartments. Veronica was pretty dark. The music, it was anger. And she went analog in an era where digital was preferred. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she had her moments, but I get what Onyx is saying. It's like, yeah, if you're talking about you want to add a little more, we want to hear more of that, not just on a song here and there. The erotica era was dark lyric wise, but the visuals were not. Nothing about the album cover or photo shoot would lead me to believe this was anything dark. All right, y'all. So now let's get back into the show. And we'll get to those rest of the comments later on. And let's talk about, since we was talking about Cardi B and that whole situation, let's get into this story. So apparently, they're saying that Stefon's mother, Stefon Diggs, because Stefon and Cardi are no longer together because apparently there were trust issues with him, and we've talked about this in many of previous stories, so I don't need to reiterate their breakup situation. And this all happened like before the Super Bowl happened, but it became apparent around the Super Bowl that they weren't no longer together. So Cardi, as y'all know, is currently on her Little Miss Drama tour, and which is coming to New York, I think, in 2 weeks. So I'm looking forward to doing that show. And with that being said, apparently it seemed like all is well in the Diggs matriarch household, because Stefon's mother actually took her behind down to the Cardi B concert, which I actually found quite interesting that she was able to. I said, okay, no hard feelings. And not only that, but Cardi B's sister, Ming Lee, I mean, not Cardi B, Nicki Minaj's sister, Ming Lee, was also down at the Cardi B concert. To which, wait, let me see if there's a whole story on that before I get to that. I was like, Cardi B, Ming Lee. I just found it funny. Nicki Minaj, Ming Lee. Well, I know that Ming did clap back at a lot of the haters, but we have that tweet and everything. So First things first, let's get into the article. So, when high-profile celebrity couples split, the fallout usually gets messy. But a new public appearance hints that the drama between Cardi B and Stefon Diggs might have a surprisingly civilized twist. Fresh off the news that the New England Patriots are releasing her son, NFL's Stefon Diggs, Stephanie Diggs made a very public statement. This week, she attended Cardi B's highly anticipated Little Miss Drama tour. It was a bold move, sending a powerful message about family loyalty. Now, as the athlete made headlines for his release from the New England Patriots on Thursday, Stephanie attended Cardi's tour. The self-proclaimed NFL mom teased the epic night via Instagram stories ahead of the Texas concert. And she went and posted this picture of like clothes on the bed and was like heels or sneakers for I am Cardi B tonight. So she actually put one, make a decision which one, heels or sneakers. So then she went and said something on her. She said she had to fly me in. We had a massage. After asking her followers where to wear heels or sneakers, she opted for the latter. The matriarch showed off her final British babe look. Stephanie paired a white button-up top and black tie with a red plaid skirt, matching hat, and sheer over-the-knee stockings. She completed her ensemble with black combat boots. Ready to party, Stephanie captioned social media snaps with her pal, classes in session. Instagram users raved over the 66-year-old in the comments section for deciding she's still going to the concert, despite her son and Cardi B calling it quits last month. Well, it's probably that she already had her tickets. And it's like, well, okay, I'm not going to get rid of the ticket, whatever the case I have, because my son and her are no longer together. And no Cardi, we close, no hard feelings. And if Stefon ain't out here mad because he got time to be sliding his peen up in multiple women while they was together, which allegedly is why he and Cardi are no longer together, then what, I got to stop doing what I'm doing? I'm still go, and I'm going to have me a good time, and I'm going to watch the performance, and when I see her, I'm going to hug her and say, hey, and then keep it moving. So one person said she knows her son fumbled real bad. This is, pointing out that she set the upload to a shady song, which has since been removed from the post. Well, it kind of feels like he was out here being messy. But that's not only that. So Ming Lee, Cardi's sister, I don't know why I keep saying Cardi's sister. Cardi's sister name is Hennessy. Ming Lee, Nicki Minaj's sister, went to the thing as well, and people was coming at her. And she said in the picture, well, hold on, because I actually have it. I'm going to sit here and read it to y'all like I don't have it. But I got it. Hold on, y'all. I'll bring it up. Okay, so it said, pick a side, no side. Who said you can't love both? Y'all just want a drama that ain't nobody but the fans gonna say. Let's be for real, we grown, and when y'all get old and wrinkly, what we post ain't gonna matter. So respectfully, IDGAF. At the end of the day, and then said, at the end of the day, we all grown, and some of the drama and whatever is not finna matter in the future. So she's just like, I'm not getting caught up in the drama, whatever. Y'all want to sit up here and hold grudges over people y'all don't know because you're a barb, you're faithful to Nicki Minaj, even though she out here being full on maggot and spewing her ignorant ass talking points of the Trump administration. So y'all move the goalposts and stuff over that, but you got a problem with me going to a concert because that's supposed to be my sister, and now you saying like I'm being disloyal because I'm going to a Cardi B show. And it's like, I don't know if y'all know this, but there are people out here who like Nicki music, and there's people who like Cardi music and support both. And people who like Nicki, who like Cardi, and then also like Megan Thee Stallion, and been to all three of them shows. Me, because I'm working at MSG, I worked Nicki's show, the Pink Friday 2 tour. I worked Megan's last show, and I'm going to work Cardi's show when it comes to New York. So, I just don't understand. Like, people get so caught up in these celebrity beefs, and it ain't got nothing to do with y'all. But I understand people are bored. People ain't got much going on in their life. So, this is what y'all do. Y'all fixate yourselves on bullshit on social media. So, I was like, is there any more add to this? No, not really. There's nothing more to add. So shout out to you, Cardi. And shout out to all of y'all out here. I guess, they say there's no loyalty or honor amongst thieves or whatever, but I'm like, I don't think there's any loyalty on Nikki's side either. But look, that's between them. I'm sure it's gonna be an awkward Thanksgiving if they even spend Thanksgiving together. They probably don't. But the decision they made as adults, they just gonna have to deal with that when they cross that bridge. And if Nikki feel away, then Ming will just have to deal with the repercussions of how she feel on her own time, and I guess take it to social media or her IG stories and address it there. And we'll be paying attention because I'm nosy and we need grist for this mill. So I'll be talking about it when we cross that bridge. Same thing with Stefon and his mother. But he ain't stupid enough to come at his mother with no mess, because you probably knock him upside the head. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Stefon Diggs' mother going to Cardi B's concert, as well as Ming Lee going to Cardi's concert, even though she knows her sister and Cardi do not get along? So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Excuse me. He said, because even BB Rexa as an independent artist is better. Her sampling Faithless in the dance world. I've always been a fan of Faithless. Shout out to Sister Bliss and all of them. And Rollo, who is Dido's brother. That he was a part of Faithless before his sister Dido went off and did her own music. But I find it funny. I'm like, do I care about BB Rexa? I be wanting to, but her music just doesn't do it for me. The photos is from the sex book. The imagery was dark, but they were only allowed to use friendly imagery. I have heard about an X-rated bad girl video and an X-rated version of erotica, which was shown once at the sex book launch. Can you imagine? It's like y'all trying to put restrictions on how explicit we can get with the sex in a book called Sex. I think the song Madonna wrote. Yeah, I think that might be the title too. It's called "Forgive Yourself," but maybe she's feeling like more or less forgiving herself on his end and her end, because it's like whatever issues that they had and her being so hard on him and probably being harder on herself once he passed away. And it's like you have to learn to forgive yourself and forgive that other person so that way you can move on in life. Because I don't hold grudges. I try not to. I think she should call the album "Return to the Dance Floor." That would be a good title if you're gonna do a sequel. Yeah, KMFDN also. That's another industrial group that they make a lot of good music too. I listen to them every now and again. So I would say the Sex Book was more BDSM inspired than dark. When I say dark, I mean dark in its subject matter. In this life, for example, not necessarily gothic or drenched in black. Yeah, that's more or less like the Hot Topic version of what they think is. To me, dark is more than gothic. I remember KMFDN had a song called Vogue in the 90s. Did they tell people to let your body move to the music? Hey, hey, hey. According to according to Key, Nikki and Ming aren't close at all. Ming tried to unalive. Damn. Not Ming trying to kill her own sister. Well, there's no coming back from that. So she went to go be messy. Sure, Armand Wiggins did a whole video on it because the only time he pop up is when you want to talk about female rappers. So he probably talked about that on his show. But anyway, let's get back into the show. Hold on, how many more topics we got? Oh, it looks like we're down to our final 4 topics. So before we get to our final 4, if you could please do me a solid and hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell so that we know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. You can also sign up for memberships, send super chats, all that good stuff. But also, please hit that like button, that subscribe, and also smash the notification bell. I know someone said that they weren't getting notifications or whatever. When I posted a separate little one of the videos up on my channel, and then I was just like, you're gonna have to unsubscribe and resubscribe. I don't know what's going on with YouTube when it comes to that, where people say like they didn't get alerts or whatever the case is. But yeah, if you can, definitely hit that thing or unsubscribe and resubscribe so that way you can get the alerts coming. Because sometimes I get that with some people I follow. So I'm like, wait, how come I haven't seen footage or something from this person in a minute? And then I'll go and look on their page. I'm like, oh yeah, they got a lot of videos. Sidebar. Y'all know that YouTuber Matt Cullen? I want to shout out to him because he got a show on, I don't know if it's necessarily his show, but he has a stripper show over on Out TV. It's actually it's on YouTube. You can watch the first episode with Crush Daddy and a bunch of them down at Wilton Manors of strippers. He actually directed the first episode. So I'm like, look at you moving on up to doing stripper videos or a reality show, whatever the case is. And then I saw Lady Bunny did an interview with which I know one of my friends don't particularly care for her, says she's a racist. But Lady Bunny recently did an interview with Alaska and Willem. So I gotta check that out. Anyway, let's get back into the show. So without further ado, let's talk about this JFK Jr. docu-series that, I mean, not docu-series, it's a mini-series, I guess we can call it, over there on FX. So apparently the show's been around, and I knew it was only a matter of time before, the shade and things was going to be coming, because I know, like, one of the Schlossbergs came out and threw shade at the show, saying it's inaccurate, and also Daryl Hannah, who dated JFK Jr. before he got with Caroline Kennedy, basically came out and threw some shade at the series as well, and says that it is filled with inaccuracies, which, come to think about it, we all know that when it comes to Ryan Murphy stuff, none of the shit is accurate. I mean, we knew that from the Monster series, when people was going in saying, like, remember when we ripped that series apart over the Ed Gein stuff and the Jeffrey Dahmer stuff? And then what was the one they did before that one? Oh, the Menendez brothers. That was the big one that they was ripping apart. And then I didn't even watch American Crime Story, the ones they did on OJ and all other stuff. Like, I didn't get into all of those. And I wasn't watching this either, because it was like, yeah, I'm aware of JFK Jr. because I grew up in that time when the paparazzi was following him everywhere, and then him and Caroline Kennedy and the way they played Daryl in this show was crazy. Another thing I didn't know about Daryl Hannah was she has autism. I did not know that. So the way the actress who you see on the right that's playing Daryl, who's on the left, the way she was doing her voice, it's almost like you were mocking her, or maybe in her mind she was trying to sound as close to Daryl Hannah as possible. But in the end, it came across as a mockery, and she has autism. So I didn't even know that about her. But she was diagnosed with that a long time ago. So Daryl Hannah did not like this thing to the point where she wrote a scathing essay for the New York Times, published today, slamming the Ryan Murphy, and that'd be Friday, slamming the Ryan Murphy produced show, which highlights Hannah's romance with JFK Jr. before he fell in love with Caroline Bessette. Dree Hemingway plays Hannah in the series, saying, quote, I have long believed that engaging with distortion often amplifies it, the 65-year-old actress wrote at the beginning of her essay. But a recent tragedy exploring television series about JFK Jr. and Caroline Bessette features the character using my name and presents her as me. The choice to portray her as irritating, self-absorbed, whiny, and inappropriate was no accident. Hannah insisted the series, which stars Paul Anthony Kelly as Kennedy Jr. He looks just like him, too. It looks like a good casting. And Sarah Pidgeon as Bessette isn't a remotely accurate representation of my life, my conduct, or my relationship with John. The actions and behaviors attributed to me are untrue, she added, accusing the show of textbook misogyny by framing her as a rival to Kennedy Jr. and Bessette's relationship. Hannah then called out specific moments in the show that she insists are inaccurate, saying, I have never used booger sugar, I had to change it because you know what I mean when I'm saying it, the C word, in my life, or hosted booger sugar fueled parties. I have never pressured anyone into marriage. I have never desecrated any family heirloom or intruded upon anyone's private memorial. Because there was a scene in the show where she shows up unannounced at Jackie Kennedy Onassis's memorial. And he's like, I thought you would show up at the funeral. I didn't know you were going to show up here. And what are you doing here? And she's going off on this. Right? Oh, my luggage and this and this and this. And it's like, The way they portray her. And I would say, like, this shouldn't be an issue or let it go, whatever the case is. But here's the thing. When you're dealing with someone who is still alive and they're not here to defend them, or they're here to defend themselves, whatever the case is, and you're portraying them in a certain light, people are, I'm no shade, but people are stupid. People are watching this show and they're assuming that what they're watching is accurate. So Daryl was like, she's getting death threats. She's getting phone calls and messages and things with people going in on her, thinking that all this shit they're seeing that Ryan Murphy is putting on this show is accurate. So now I'm getting the brunt of all this hate and vitriol because this man is over here making money off of the pain of two people who can not only cannot defend themselves, but another actress who is alive that could speak on it, but you're spewing inaccuracies. And the funny thing is, sensationalism is way more entertaining than the truth. So I could get up there and say, it's BS, it's all these things, but you'll go off and believe this queen, this tight ass arrogant over her. And this ain't even her show. So you're not going to believe the person that was actually there in the room that dealt with the situation, but you're going to believe this F over here who's sitting there spreading lies and stuff? I think what needs to happen at the point, people got to come out here and start suing Ryan Murphy for his damn lies. Or what he needs to do is put a disclaimer, because apparently we got to put disclaimers in front of things because people are too damn stupid to realize that everything you see on TV ain't the damn truth. So maybe what needs to happen is you need to put a disclaimer in the beginning to say that this is some exaggerated account of what transpired, viewer discretion advised. I don't know. Hook it up the way y'all need to hook it up. But y'all need to put something out there where it's just like people don't necessarily believe. But then again, would they go and watch the sensationalism? Because if you have to tell them the truth, that's why I said, if you really want the truth, watch a documentary, because that's when you'll get it. Because she said that it's appalling that she had to defend herself against a TV show, reiterating that the establishments of her personality in the program is false. Later in the essay, she claimed that since the show premiered on February 12th, she's received many hostile and even threatening messages from viewers who seem to believe the portrayal is factual. She said, "My silence should not be mistaken for agreement with lies." After explaining that she usually keeps quiet about her public perceptions, and also because she's abiding by the fact that the Kennedys and everybody likes to keep their private life quiet, so she's honoring that. He said, "Apparently my discretion makes me a target." The Splash Star also noted that the Kennedys are notoriously private and she's always honored their right to privacy, unlike the Megas A Love Story, saying, quote, "Know that most, if not all, of these claiming to have any intimate knowledge of our personal lives are self-serving sensationalists trading in gossip, innuendo, and speculation." Hannah, and Kennedy Jr. had an on-again, off-again relationship from 1988 to 1994. Their romance came to an end after the death of Kennedy Jr.'s mother, Jackie O, in 1994, and the death of Hannah's dog. Kennedy Jr. was walking the dog in Central Park when it got loose and was hit by a car. Ooh, damn. And it said that according to the book, JFK Jr., an intimate oral biography, Kennedy Jr. was deeply resentful that Hannah made him come to her dog's funeral in LA while his mom was dying of cancer in New York. After the breakup, Kennedy Jr. began dating Bissett, who he married in 96. They both died in a 1999 plane crash alongside her sister, Lauren Bissett. Hannah, meanwhile, has been married to rocker Neil Young since 2018. So, I did read the whole article, and for most people, it's behind a paywall. But shout out to Andy Signor over there at Popcorn Planet, because he did a whole story on this, and he actually got beyond the paywall, probably because he paid for it. I ain't paying for shit. So, he got behind the paywall and he read the whole article. So if y'all want to hear everything that she said, and you don't want to pay the paywall, situation, you can go over to Popcorn Planet and watch the video and you can hear all the details. But I feel like I gave y'all enough of the juicy stuff to get to the point. Because it's sad that, we have Ryan Murphy where he makes interesting things. You got your good stuff with American Horror Story most of the time, where you could come and create what you need to create and go as crazy and outside the box with that show. And most recently, the recent show with Evan Peters, The Beauty, excuse the beauty. So you had The Beauty and everything was just ended. And so you create your little crazy world of all that stuff. But once you get into the the once you get in the sandbox regarding talking about real people's lives and you're sensationalizing and making up stuff because you treating this shit like it's a damn soap opera, like we watching a big ass telenovela, that's when we get in the muddy waters. And you don't want to open that Pandora's box, because once you start opening that Pandora's box, that's when things get murky and things get messy. So shout out to you, Daryl Hannah. And it's unfortunate that you get all this hate and vitriol based off of people saying things that you say, well, according to her, is inaccurate. And all this for to make money off of these people's lives. So I say all this to say, and I'm definitely curious to hear what Ryan Murphy got to say about all of this. How he going to excuse this behavior, or what this says that's coming out. So I definitely want to hear from y'all regarding this story. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Not Matt leaves Sloan because the community hates that messy MAGA code again. Is he MAGA? Child, I hope not. Because, child, Matt just did he been doing a couple of videos on these Epstein file victims. So I don't know if you want to be out here. I hope your man is not, into that. I've been confused how Hollywood gets away with lying about real life events since the Tina Turner movie. And I love what's love got to do with it. You're going to be mad at me, but Love Story is my heated rivalry. Well, I knew you liked the show. We know you a fan because you talked about it many a time. I'm so excited for next week's episode. With all that being said, Ryan Murphy is still a turd. I mean, you can enjoy it for what it is, but I think more or less my beef is with people, and I think the only reason why she's speaking out is because she's been receiving hate mail and death threats and all kinds of disgusting comments online. So my beef is with them. My beef is if you like the show and you enjoy it and you're taking it for what it is, that you're just entertained and it's your heated rivalry and it's giving you all the soap opera, grand, extravagant, whatever it is that you look for and that type of stuff, then by all means enjoy. But my issue is always with people who don't know how to just watch something, have your little thoughts or whatever, scream at the TV, yell at the TV during a scene like Jada Pinkett in Scream 2, and move on. But no, you got to go on social media. You got to at Daryl Hannah because you feel like she's not a human being, because she ain't going to get back at you, and send her shady comments. And what pleasure are you getting out of that? So that's my issue. If you think Paul Anthony Kelly is fine, you might be happy watching last night's episode because his booty cheeks were... Well, you always got to do a butt scene in the Ryan Murphy project. I mean, they be having Evan Peters butt naked and stuff all over the TV. All right, y'all. All right, let's get back into the rest of the show. And let's talk about Lisa Rinna. So Lisa Rinna has a new book out, and she's spilling a lot of tea in regarding what's going on in said book. Now, I don't care about all the other stuff. Like, she tells about whether or not people think her husband, Harry Hamlin's gay and all this other mess. But what I want to know is, who are some of the rudest celebrities she's actually worked with? Because, inquiring minds, we want to know who are the nastiest people that's in this business. So, Lisa Rinna didn't shy away from naming her former Celebrity Apprentice co-stars Dionne Warwick and Star Jones as the rudest celebrities she's ever worked with. In fact, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills alum labeled Warwick as a nasty piece of work in her new memoir. You better believe you better believe I'm gonna talk about it. The first time I met her on a create your own pizza task, she barely looked at me but had the audacity to bark, "Go get me a Pepsi," she recalled in the book. And for some reason, I ran off like a simp to get Dionne Warwick a Pepsi. She thanked me by conspiring with her coven, not her coven child, to get me canned. She continued, referencing her early departure from season 4 of the reality series. Rinna was fired from the show as she claimed Star Jones threw her under the effing bus in episode 2. Looking back on the moment in her book, Rinna reflected that she couldn't trust any other women on this Celebrity Apprentice. She also thanked Jones for being such a twat because her viciousness prepared me for my future as a Beverly Hills housewife. Saying, I'm not sure I'd ever experienced woman-on-woman hate crimes before that. Not woman-on-woman hate crimes. Okay, now you're being extra. Now, I should say that Page Six did hit up Warwick and Star Jones, and they didn't immediately respond back. Now they said last Thursday, the Bravo celebrity dished about her time as a star on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, exclusively telling Page Six Radio that she felt her time on the series cast a black cloud over her family. Saying, I think there was a bit of a black cloud over me for a while, and I think that can affect the entire family dynamic. Said Rinna, who is mom of the daughters Amelia and Delilah Rose Hamlin, or Delilah Bell Hamlin. I think it's Amelia Rose and Delilah Bell, both of whom she shares with her husband, Harry Hamlin. Once I got myself out of the situation, the cloud lifted for all of us. I really believe that. And they said that she didn't have to deal with the pressures of being a housewife. Now, she joined the Housewives for season 5 in 2014 and left the show after season 12 in 2023. And now they also said that she called out Garcelle Bouvet for being fake from head to toe and a huge disappointment, and labeled her former friends Sutton Strack and Denise Richards as narcissists. So, she was dealing with that. Also, I'm like, why am I not seeing the rest of my articles? Because this is weird. Because then it was another situation that happened where she also mentioned, because the first thing I remember hearing about before was one of her former co-stars. Remember Robert Kelker Kelly from back in the day? He was the original Bo Brady. That's the Bo Brady I remember when I was growing up. Because when I used to go to my babysitter house, Miss Jessie, and she used to stay watching NBC soaps. So she would watch Days of Our Lives. And I remember seeing Robert Kelly on the show. But I remember, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a fine." And I didn't. First of all, I didn't know what gay was, but I just remember seeing that man on TV with that beard and everything. I was like, "Ooh, that's a fine man." And I was a little old thing. So yes, I was liking Peen, even though I didn't know what all that meant. I just knew it was a fine, good-looking man, and that was that. But the thing that I found interesting was like, I liked him on the show, but who knew he was a nightmare to work with? And Lisa Rinna talked about it in her book, basically saying that he was the biggest bully in Hollywood, on how he would always come across as very passive aggressive when they're on set, and always wanted you to do what he wanted you to do. And if you said no, then you got the wrath of him. They said that her and Kristen Alfonso had to even walk around with security at one point because he was a nightmare to be around. And she even called out Andy Cohen for publishing her private text messages about her Real Housewives of Beverly Hills exit in his own memoir, because Andy's messy. That's why I was like, you would think that he'd be a boss, but he act like a damn housewife himself. He a messy queen. Now, elsewhere in the memoir, she also admitted to having been snubbed on several occasions by Anna Wintour. I guess that's a rite of passage because she snubs every damn body. However, she went on to claim that the former Vogue editor finally said hi to her at a recent Balenciaga fashion show. Probably because now she know who she is. Like, Lisa Rinna may be infamous in a lot of ways because of the soaps and stuff, but people know who she is. So that seemed to be a lot of the juicy parts of the book. But I'm sure there's way more out there than just Star Jones and Dionne Warwick. You named a lot of black women. It couldn't have been just black women that was being a piece of shit to you. But then again, we've heard stories about. I mean, Dionne Warwick always gives like stink attitude, and Star Jones definitely gives that reputation. Especially when she was in her later years, when she was gonna marry Al You Doing, and she became a nuisance when she was with him at the time and trying to have her own little thing going on, because I lost weight and I'm about to get married and all that all the she foo stuff. So now she feel like she's a part of the elites because she lost all that weight. She got a little gastric sleeve put up in her, allegedly, and was gonna marry her a closet case. Okay, daughter. So I saw this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Lisa Rinna revealing some of the rudest celebrities she's ever worked with in Hollywood? I'm sure there's way more that she could have listed besides these very few, but I guess that was just enough for the article to put out there. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. All right, y'all. So now let's get into this mess. Let's talk about Jessica White. So I didn't even know who Jessica White was. I remember hearing the name or whatever the case was, but when people was talking about, I'm like, who? But then I did research. Apparently, she was a judge on America's Next Top Model. Which season? Because I don't like Mariah Carey says about for Lopez. I don't know her, but she apparently thinks it's okay for women to be bi but not men. And this coming from somebody who literally looked like she's the T in the LGBT. She puts the T in LGBT. You're looking like one of the dolls, sis. So she did reveal that there's a double standard between men and women when it comes to being bi. Now, Victoria's Secret runway model and one-time America's Next Top Model judge, Jessica White, has shared a controversial take on bisexuality, stating that bisexual men are less acceptable than bisexual women. Well, then she's right because they don't accept men as bi. Women are more acceptable of being bisexual, and that's for men and women. Particularly, well, yeah, women are more. I think black women very much have an issue with men hooking up with other men. Some white women can be very much open-minded regarding that, but some of them just be just as ignorant. But yeah, it is a double standard because women can be flirty and make out with girls and have their little girls gone wild moment. But the minute a guy experiments in, or wants to hook up with dudes or fool around, it's an issue. And we've seen this play out many a time. We've seen it play out in Sex and the City, and we've seen it play out on Insecure. So we've seen it on both sides. So in an interview with TMZ on March 4th, the model and famously single star who was asked to name something that's acceptable when a girl does it, but an ick when men do it. She offered up baby talk as her first response before putting her thoughts about bisexuality on the table, saying, I would also say it's okay for a girl to kind of be bi, but if a man does it, she says, trailing off and laughing. Asked to expand on her opinion, the 41-year-old said double standards exist for all of us, right? But women have an ability to have more freedom to explore their sexuality, I believe. On social media, her remarks have been met with a divided response, with some arguing, of course, it's okay for men to be bisexual, and others standing with White's statement. Well, I don't think from what I'm getting from this, it doesn't seem like she's saying she has a problem with men hooking up with dudes. She's basically saying that society is basically making it seem like it's okay for women, that women could be more free to express themselves and hook up with other. And I think it's because it plays into the male fantasy. Men want to see girls hooking up with each other because they think, oh, if a girl hooks up with another girl, then I can get up in there and also be a third and participate. Even though they're like, who said we was including you? So they like that idea. Whereas if a guy is hooking up with another guy, that makes him apparently less masculine in the eyes of some people. So let's see what some of the people said. So one person said people can do whatever they want. You don't have to like it. One person commented to an Instagram post of the interview. LOLC, this is how y'all end up with men on the DL. They should be able to explore and have freedom with their sexuality the same way women can with no judgment, in my opinion. Another person said super okay for men to be bi. And so yeah, that's a fact though. It's like I do agree with that part where this is why a lot of men end up sneaking around on the DL, which is down low for those. I'm sure everybody knows what that is, but you always got to point things out for the newbies, whoever comes in. Because when I cut this up and make it a segment, it's a little educational moment. So it's like, yeah, there are people that's like, that's why I gotta hide or I gotta do this and I gotta do that. So that's what they do. And it's unfortunate that this is the road that some people have to take in regards to that. Now let's get into some of the ignorant damn comments. Yes, I agree. Ain't no such thing as bi for men. With another writing, a bisexual man is a gay man. Another person said, no such thing as a bisexual man. LOL, don't come for me. Well, bitch, don't say something stupid on social media and say, no such thing as a bi man. Don't come for me. Well, don't say something dumb and nobody will come for you. I don't get people. Like, some people out here are just so damn short but slow. But what I also have an issue with is bi erasure. Because for you to sit up here and say, oh, there ain't no such thing as a bisexual man, and this is exactly the problem. Because there are people out here who think, oh no, there's no such thing as a bi man, and if a man hooks up with another man, he's gay. That's the same thing they was out here doing with Pedro Pascal, because y'all seen Pedro out here with that dude, Raphael, and you got people out here labeling him as gay. I seen one post where it was like, we been knew. Fuck out of here. What you knew? And where's the evidence? Because Pedro has never come out and said that he's gay. He's not even put a label on himself. So until he comes out and says who he is, he's just Pedro. And who likes men and possibly likes women. So let's stop with the bi erasure, because bisexuals do exist. I know quite a few. So I don't like that. Now, before I get into the rest of the article, speaking of bisexual, Paulie Calafiore, who y'all may not be familiar with that name, but he's a reality star. He was on Big Brother. I think he won Big Brother. And he also was on The Challenge. He's done a couple of episodes. I think he's still dating Cara Maria. Y'all know who that is if you watch The Challenge. But anyway, so TMZ went and spoke to him because I think that's probably the most famous bisexual that they know. So TMZ spoke with him. Charles actually spoke with him from TMZ. And here's what he had to say about the whole situation regarding Jessica White. Please hold.
I'm going to have a little bit of an educational moment for Miss Jessica. Yeah. So before there were labels on everything, if she goes back, if she studies the ancient Greeks, the ancient Romans, the way that men bonded back in the day before they went to war was they would sleep with each other. As we're in more of a evolved era of life, we're able to be a little bit more open and free about our bisexuality. But let's make no mistakes about it. The bisexual men are the baddest men on the planet, right? I know you straight guys been holding it down for a lot of decades, but we're the ones carrying the torch here. And maybe if she stopped hanging around guys like John Legend and Jay-Z, them little she might have a little bit of a different idea about this. But all jokes aside, yeah. I do a lot of work with GLAAD. And it's comments like this that make guys afraid to come out as bisexual, because we really don't know where our place is, because we are the guys who played sports. We are the guys who got into a lot of fights. You know, we definitely know how to, fuck women and men. And we happily do it. Listen, there's a lot of NFL guys in my DMs, a lot of UFC guys in my DMs asking me how they could come out about this stuff when they have girlfriends, when they have wives. And it's because of comments like this that they don't want to do it, because they don't want to be seen as weak to their other competitors. And I'm here to say that, it doesn't make us weak. We could still be the same old badass dudes that we've always been, and, have a little bit of spice. You need somebody that could play all sides of the field.
What I heard her saying is that she doesn't like seeing men showing affection to each other. She doesn't like seeing two men kiss. She's fine with seeing two women kiss. I'm just wondering if that's something you've heard. If that's something you've heard when you came out, was that something that you?
No, honestly, I didn't. Honestly, I got a lot of people. I got a lot of love. I got a lot of married couples coming to me being like, "Hey, do you mind banging my husband? Do you mind banging my wife?" Like, it was a very, welcoming thing for me. But I think I've always just kind of presented myself as me, and it's one of those things. Like, I was a captain of all my teams. I was a professional athlete, and all my teammates, when I came out, they all supported me, and they were just like, "Yo, Cap, like, congrats on coming out." Like, that's just how we do it. And I don't feel like, men should kind of hide their affection and everything. We just have to kind of be authentically ourselves. And the one thing that kind of was like hypocritical is like, oh, women, we can explore our sexuality more than men can. It's like, why? She's trying to prop it up and position it in a way where it's like, oh, my boyfriend or my husband wouldn't care if I brought in another girl, because that's kind of hot. But if my, boyfriend or husband brought in another man, that's gross. But it's good to know she wasn't at the Diddy parties, because she probably would have, definitely experienced some of that stuff there. I believe it is wrong. I think a lot of people, would believe it's wrong. So I would just put this to her, where it's like, I'm sure she's a strong personality. She wouldn't be as successful as she is if she wasn't. She probably doesn't appreciate people trying to generalize what she might be, what she could be in that realm. So, if somebody kind of made a generalized comment, being like, oh, well, there's your typical hip hop Atlanta, girl, she would probably take that a certain type of way, given everything that she's accomplished and everything she's done in life. So I would just kind of ask her, Jessica, just kind of shut up about these kind of topics. I'm going to have a little bit of an educational moment.
Okay, so shout out to Paula because I definitely had to play that video for y'all so y'all can, because it's like, okay, someone who actually is masculine presenting, that was an athlete that actually has a thing for guys and girls, and seeing that side explored. I definitely would love to see more guys like him come out and be themselves. And you definitely get it when you look at UFC and all kinds of other sports that a lot of those guys are way more fluid than y'all realize. But let's get in the comments of what they said over there in this video. So of course he said had to educate little Miss Jessica. Another person, Ruthie. Is this Ruthie from? Oh yes, it is from the challenge. Because I was at and the real world. She said, "Don't know her, but I do know you, and mad props for speaking out. Much love." And another person said, "Just an absolute wild conversation to be shouting in the middle of an airport." Okay, so um I'm in the airport talking about, you'd be surprised what you hear people talking about at the airport. Who gives a fuck where it's happening? The fact of the matter is we having a conversation. Another person said, talk poorly. Another person said, hell yeah, blah, blah, blah. So it seems like a lot of people are pretty much giving Paulie his props in regards of the conversation and all the stuff. And I definitely think that more men need to come out and be more open and affectionate with their, because I didn't know what the context of what she said based on me reading the article, because I didn't hear what she said. And I think a lot of times you get more of an understanding if you hear the way that they say it or what they're saying and the tone and all this stuff. I would have gotten that idea. Then I would have went in on her ass. But I don't feel like I need to. I feel like Paulie said enough of what he needed to say for me and everybody else. He was good at educating the people. But before we get up out of here, let's finish with the rest of the story. So they talk about bi-erasure, as I was saying before, is common issue both inside and outside the Levitical plus community, with with many bi people facing stigma, discrimination, and poor mental health as a result. Despite common assumptions and misconceptions, bi people are not automatically promiscuous, greedy, or more likely to cheat on their partner. It's a myth that all bisexual people are promiscuous. The reality is that bisexual people could fall anywhere on the sexuality spectrum, from asexual to biromantic, which basically means have little to no sexual attraction to others at all, to very sexual and physical, explains LGBTQ plus charity, the Trevor Project, in its Understanding Bisexuality Guide. Also, just because someone is attracted to men and women does not mean they will be unfaithful to their partner and or be with both men and women at all times. And so, in case y'all were wondering, you want to understand more about bisexuality. I'm gonna say bisexuals, but it's bisexuality. Bisexuality Awareness Week basically takes place every September, and it's focused on busting myths and misconceptions around the bisexuality community. So, shout out to all the bi people, the bi folks out there, bifocals, the bi folks out there who feel like they are underrepresented, and we need more bisexual voices out there that can speak up, because the fact that people just sit up here and act like, oh, well, you're saying bi, but that's really just like a gateway to being gay. When they say all that, I hate when people say that, because it's like this, the overall dismissiveness of people's feelings and how they identify and stuff is just ridiculous. So shout out to you, Paulie, your little cute self. And funny enough, before I even knew he was bisexual, I used to think he was, well, I had a thing for him. And then when came out and said he liked boys and girls, I was like, yes, honey. I told I don't fall in love with straight boys. If I have a thing for men, usually they are on the spectrum, and it never steers me wrong. My gut feeling when it comes to the people I'm attracted to. So let me know what you guys think. So Jessica White, girl, go play in traffic, and this is why a lot of times models should be seen and not heard, because a lot of time when y'all talk, y'all sound dumb as hell. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I was gonna say, why did they didn't want to come out? Huh, he said, and yet we all know that men are just as bi as women are. Exactly. And this is why a lot of times we be sleeping with y'all men and we keep it to ourselves. Because we be knowing the tea. We be clocking their souls and everybody's soul. But the way y'all but shady bitches be acting, that's why a lot of times, your men be creeping on y'all. Because you sound ignorant like her. And the women got to compete with the trans girls. They got to compete with the gay men. That's why they got a problem with us. And I don't wish it was me. The analogy poorly gave, child. Was that a good thing or a bad thing? You said, well, the Caucasian community is more open about. Yeah, that is definitely true. Because, there's a couple of YouTubers that I watch, like Say So and Jay, what's his name? Jay Exclusive. They do a lot of videos, and even Nico Aesthetics, they do a lot of videos, as men of color, where they try to, I believe, I don't know, who's the other one I mentioned? Say So TV, I think is what he calls his channel. He is openly bisexual. And he talks about like a lot of those. He talks a lot of those stories on his YouTube channel. And Nico, I think Nico also identifies as bi. They break down a lot of those stigmas and things. So yeah, we just need more people to come out and be those voices and speak out on it. But I definitely agree that when you are Caucasian, it is more acceptable in that community for white men to be more open with bisexuality. Because look at it. That OF performer, Tyler Durden, which everybody keeps talking about, he's a Trump supporter. But people be living for him and his content. He's married, got 5 kids. His wife just had a baby. I think she does content too. And he has sex with men on camera. He does it with women every now and again, but mostly everybody knows the money maker is him getting fucked in the ass by dudes. So that's the money maker. And when you see this big, beefy, muscle dude getting pounded, people are into that. That's the kink. That's the fetish. So, and then playing with his masculine and feminine side and stuff. So, he's found a niche. And so he's openly said that he's bisexual. And it just comes to the fact that people got to debunk those stories. Like I was talking about before with the stripper show, Crush Daddy is also someone who identifies as bisexual. He's born and raised in South Africa, lives in Texas, and has been doing a lot of interviews and appeared online and spoken a lot about, the stripper life and all the other things. So I do agree with that. That is more acceptable in the white community. Hence why I think the other conversation is the fact that why Black gays who aren't accepted by their own community tend to go over to the white guys and date outside their race and stuff, because those people are more open-minded than Black gays who are very judgmental and discriminate and all that other stuff. So they're not trying to deal with all of that. Okay. Not Jay Quintus saying I'd rather date a bisexual man. Oh, you talking about Pedro. I need to use your gaydar for a celebrity I'm curious about. Does Cameron Winter make your gaydar go or oh yeah, I don't know who that is. Hold on. Who's Cameron Winter? He's an ex-musician. Oh, he's from that group Geese. I don't get that vibe from him. But then again, he's from New York, so you know how these Brooklyn boys are. When I lived in Brooklyn, I was having sex with a lot of those hipsters. So um I wouldn't be surprised. But no, the vibe isn't giving. But shout out to you, Paulie. I'm glad I came across that video because I was like, that even gave a little more nuance to the topic. All right, y'all. So, wait, let me see if we got any more comments. You said I just got the remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night on Blu-ray. Well, look, I definitely want. You haven't seen it yet? Definitely let me know what your thoughts are because I saw it in the theater and I absolutely loved it. I haven't gotten around to buying it yet. I'm gonna wait a little bit for the price to go down. I'm very much like I'm not gonna be out here spending $30 on stuff. I'm waiting till the prices get down a little bit. I'm like, oh, that's my time to strike and get up in there and get. Because then what I do is I tend to get a little movie buy crazy, and I will buy like 4 or 5 movies all at once. And I was like, oh yeah, I just spent like $100 on 5 movies, so I'm good, or maybe less. So when they bring the prices down and they slash them over there on Amazon, I'll be like, look, that's my time to get it. But yeah, I like the movie. I hope they make a sequel. All right, y'all. So now let's get into our final topic as we hit 3 hours into the show. Hold on. What about the guy from I Know What You Did Last Summer? Who you talking about? Tariq Withers? I thought Tariq said he was into dudes and girls. This when he came out and said he was bisexual. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, I definitely get a vibe from him. I actually want to see that movie that he's in, the one with the lady that wrote that book based off of the movie that Blake Lively did and Justin Baldoni. I do want to see that movie because she with Micah Monroe and Tariq Withers that they're in together. Tariq is a good looking man though, and Mason Gooden. I want to see them do a movie together in Hunch. Tariq Withers and Mason Gooden playing lovers, secret lovers. Yeah, that's what we are. Try so hard and dying to make me feel. I do love that song. Okay, now let me get serious. Let's get back into the show. Our final topic. All right, y'all, let's talk about Billy Porter. So, Billy Porter is giving us a little more insight into that case of sepsis where he almost died. I'm like, damn, we got a lot of people we talking about lately on this show that's been dying. Well, particularly in this episode. But he recently did Outlaws with T.S. Madison, and he went deep into the conversation regarding it, which I was like, when I saw that pop up where it said Outlaws and Billy Porter, I was like, oh, bitch, I got to watch this show. But anyway, let's get into the story. So Pose star Billy Porter, who revealed the horrific details of his sepsis diagnosis last year, explained that he was dead for 3 days after being put on a life support machine. Porter, who's 56, made his sepsis diagnosis public last September as he was forced to pull out and starring in Cabaret on Broadway alongside Marisha Wallace. At the time, an official statement from the production said that Porter was battling a serious case of the condition, but he was expected to make a full recovery. Now, speaking of T.S. Madison on her iHeartMedia Outlaws podcast on March 2nd, Porter opened up about how close he came to death and suggested that it's a miracle that he is still here today. He explained to Madison that during a routine check by his doctor, they discovered that he had a kidney stone that was trapped in his urethra. Now, when I read that the first time, I was like, "Ooh, girl!" I felt I had to grab myself because I'm like, "Can you imagine a kidney stone being trapped in your urethra?" I wonder if that's due to the HIV medication that he was taking, that he started developing kidney stones. But the man has admitted that he got HIV, so I'm not spilling his business. He said it himself in public. Now, sharing the gory details, I should probably say viewer discretion advised, or what they say, trigger warning. Do we do that on this channel? Or we just unfiltered? Y'all already know that y'all gonna get some explicit shit when I talk. So now, sharing the gory details, he said when they got in there, there was so much pus and bile and infection behind the stone, it bubbled up, and I went uroseptic in minutes. Well, I guess because it's the blockage. Now, according to Sepsis Alliance, the term urosepsis describes sepsis caused by a UTI, which is a urinary tract infection. When a UTI goes untreated, it could spread to the kidneys and cause sepsis. Now, Porter explained that his case of sepsis was so severe that he had to be placed on an extracorporeal membrane oxygen machine, which is basically called ECMO, which is a form of life support. Now, an ECMO helps blood pump around your heart and lungs, following a patient's heart and lungs to rest and recover. Meanwhile, Porter was in a coma. He said, I was dead for 3 days. I am a miracle. I'm a walking miracle. Now, after he awoke, he was informed that his leg had gone into compartment syndrome, which is when the muscles close in on themselves and cut off the oxygen. He said, I had to be cut open on either side of his leg from the knee to his hip. Jesus Christ. While he still was in a coma in order to save his leg. Now, Porter explained that after he came to, he realized that the near-death experience had changed the way he views life. He said, "I'm so grateful to be here. It is such a gift," adding that the experience taught him three things. "As I sat in my hospital bed reflecting, there were a couple of things I heard. The first thing I heard was work smarter, not harder." Well, yeah, I always say that, yeah. Even though I'm nowhere near 50, I always feel like at my age, work smarter, not harder. I'm not killing myself anymore. Gone are the days where I used to kill myself and bend myself over backwards for other people to make money off me. The second thing I heard was be obedient, answer the call. And the third thing I heard was don't you ever stop telling the truth again. I unconsciously silenced myself for fear that I wouldn't be on the A list anymore. Now, in December, the Hunger Games star assured fans that he was on the road to recovery, saying it was not easy. It's been a very, very challenging 4 months, and I want everybody to know that I'm on the road to full recovery. I'm not there yet, but I'm on the road to that. And so, you know what? Shout out to you, Billy. I like Billy Porter. I know everybody be saying he's so damn extra and all this other stuff, but that's what we live for. We live for a sassy queen. Well, I do. Someone who lives in a truth and is unapologetically themselves. And I think when you've had a near-death experience, you're at a point, look, I'm almost like my excuse everywhere I go, little bitch, I almost died. I don't give a fuck. Whether or not that you feel like me speaking out against this thing or genocide in Gaza and all the whatever political, whatever it is you want to speak out on. It's like, look, I almost died. So can't you say nothing to me that's gonna hurt my feelings in that way because I almost died. Like that's gonna be my car carrying thing everywhere. I almost died, bitch. So I'm glad that Billy is doing better. I'm glad that he's on the road to recovery. And I love him as a performer. He's a great singer, even though I know y'all probably didn't feel that way when he sat up there and butchered Mariah Carey at the Grammys party, whatever you want to call that, the pre-party. Um, and so good on you. I'm glad you're getting better. I'm glad you're working on your recovery. And so that way you can get out there and start performing again and giving us all of you. So I say all this to say, and shout out to T.S. Madison, because Maddie, you've been getting a lot of good interviews, and I can't wait because she's been teasing us with all this. Not only has she been dragging Trashy K all over social media, which was having me cackling, but I also love the fact that I can wait for this whole situation with her and the DL Whisperer to be done and over with. Because she said when everything is done with the legalities regarding this case, oh, she's going to spill it all. So I'm looking forward to that moment where she has her moment on Fag Talk with Miss Craig, and they get up there and she says what needs to be said in that whole situation. So shout out to you, Billy Porter, and shout out to you, Maddie, because you're definitely doing great things out here in the world of entertainment. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all regarding this story. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I just got Sabrina the Teenage Witch for $10. Damn. Well, I guess the show's been out for so long, and a lot of people don't really care about it. And that's no shade to you. If you're a fan, then that's great. But I'm like, I guess they feel like, you know what, $10 for a whole series. It's been out for so long. It's like we don't have to charge you $70 for the whole thing. Not having sex with a lot of those hip. I mean, that's what it was all up in Brooklyn. Mason screamed and cried. He was being mocked on Scary Movie. Oh, was he? This queen is living his Lisa Rinna fantasy. That's why I picked that picture. Billy be sending me with these wigs. I can't, but you know what? If she want to get up there with her little Lord Farquaad wig and live in her fantasy, you do that, daughter. The Billy Porter interview with Maddie was everything. She's gotten so much better at letting her guests speak. Well, yeah, it's like that's why I always say the more you do it, the better at the job you get. You look at it and it's like, what can I do better? And where do I, work on? And that's why I always do. Even when I do this show, I watch it back because I'm editing and all the other stuff and putting the clips up. So I'm doing all of that just so that way I have a better way of getting better because you don't want to be stagnant and doing the same thing over and over. So yeah, just like just my baby daddy said, definitely check that interview out because it is a good one. So well, look, that was the plan. Because I was like, I want to finish this show before Drag Race come on. And I definitely want to see this episode. Wasn't it? Because I did watch the first 10 minutes. Child, this was the reading challenge. The reading challenge was not good. I know some people were saying that they wanted to hear Athena go in and do the reading challenge situation, but that didn't happen. And then left the fans on a cliffhanger again because they want to see if they're going to be bringing one person back or all the girls back for the makeover challenge. So that's going to be the episode tonight. But my thing is this: I have Philo. I don't want to watch Drag Race in real time, so I wait until the show is done and then I go and I watch it. So around 9:30 is when I watch Drag Race. Also, I need to know the tea of what's going on why Naysha Lopez and Gia Gunn are beefing. I need to look into that story. But from what I heard is that last week's episode, Gia Gunn made a comment about Batty over there at Roscoe's and saying, are these men on the stage, whatever the case? But it's like, girl, first of all, if you want to identify as trans, you should not be up in here calling women in clothes men or whatever the case is, because you wouldn't want somebody to do that shit to you. And was basically saying, do I have beef with Batty or do I have beef with you? Because Naysha jumped in. But you know, Naysha like all that shit. She probably like getting up there, popping off and acting like she on baddies or whatever the case is. So girls was fighting. And then Gia got up there with her swollenness, because she looking a little swollen. I don't know if it's the moans, but Miss Mama done put on a lot of weight. And she was up in there just like, went on TikTok and said her little piece or whatever the case was. And who knows? It's like, this is unnecessary. I guess they want me to invite your ass over there at Roscoe's. I mean, you can go to Scorpios. Maybe they'll have you there, because that's another viewing party. But yes, that was the plan. And also, I got to rewatch UK versus the World, because the last episode I put it on, it was watching me. I totally I fell asleep on it. So I got to rewatch that episode. Oh, child, but I'm sitting here yawning. I guess I am tired, but I got to work tomorrow. So I want to thank you all because we're done with today's show. Thank you all for tuning in to today's show. I know it wasn't as sprucey and as extravagant as normally, but it's like, look, it is what it is. This is just a regular entertainment news gossip show. And hopefully y'all enjoyed some of the topics that we discussed today. I want to thank you all for those of you who were in the comments, kikiing with me and some of the assholes that I had to block. And all of that stuff. Love y'all too. And and yeah, we'll be back on Monday with a brand new episode. Who knows? I might try to do one on Sunday, whatever, I'll see. But Monday, I'll give y'all a show. And unfortunately, after Monday, that'll probably be the last one y'all get until next week, because I got the Rangers and the Big East tournament, and that is literally 4 days of basketball madness. Okay, that's what I said. That's what I was thinking too. It's like he almost died. Like I'm like, bitch, I almost died. You think I'm scared of some punk ass barbs who sit and spew bullshit on social media? Like, please, you can't say nothing to me. Yes, good night. So yeah, we'll be back on Monday with a brand new episode. So yeah, hit that like button, subscribe, notification, all that good stuff. Send super chats. Hit up the memberships, do all that stuff. I got an unofficial Ghostface Bluetooth headphones. Well, that should be cool to see. Hello, Sydney. Remember me? Hell fucking no. Who is this on the phone? It's on the line. So anyway, yeah, love you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for your continued support. And until next time, ciao, darlings.